The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. (1998), which was a much different time here in the world. Playing outside and going to the mall was the teenage norm. Nintendo 64 and PlayStation were the hip consoles, and the Winston Cup series was hitting its stride. Simultaneously, a tradition that emulates a major short track event was born. The online All-American 400 began from its roots in NASCAR Racing 3 and has evolved through the decades and millennia to where it is today. 28 years later, we take to the track and celebrate and enjoy this yearly sim racing spectacle. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for our third annual coverage of our time here with this race, the 28th annual All-American 400 here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck. I have my longtime colleague, Andre Dirt Grandbush, here to help me out with the call. So, Dirt, you were here with me in 2023 when we first had our taste of this event. And it was an interesting one, 36 cautions, one that stands in the record books. Last year was pretty fun with Brad, and I know you were looking forward to coming back for this event.
Yeah, definitely. This event is one of the coolest things, I think, that you're going to see happen on iRacing. It's weird to say historic in the context of a video game or a sim, but this event is very easily classifiable as historic. And as the longest-running repeated race on a sim, it's just something that a lot of people want to be a part of as drivers. And for me, I want to be a part of it, just watching these guys do what they do, make the calls from up in the booth, and it is a lot of fun to be back. Hopefully we don't recreate those 36 yellows, but you never know. This race always finds a way to surprise.
Exactly that, always finds a way to surprise, and we'll test all these drivers, of course, here in the American Sim Racing Sanction. This isn't just a one race event. This was essentially a week of action here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, where they raced the mini stocks, and Tyler Mueller won that event. And then they had the late model stocks the other day, and that was won by Brandon Elvis. And there was another event too, won by Tyler Muller. So Tyler's having a good week here in Speed Weeks. You'll see on the top right of your display a couple partners here that have all facilitated to help bring today's efforts to be. Speedway Action Images, Speedway Action Magazine, which is your place for short track action and news in the Ohio region, and the NOSRA, which is a new Northern Ohio Sim Racing League to be starting. So again, thanks for them. And Andre, this is largely all a one-man show. There's not a crew of 15 admins in the backs coagulating these decisions and making the calls. This is all a one-man event, so we do have to give our shout-outs to Jim Foose, who, again, the starter, the originator, been putting this all on for the decades to come.
Yeah, he knows how to get it done. I've said for a long time, when it comes to event organization, all it takes is somebody who really knows what needs to be done, how to get things set up, and how to draw a crowd. Jim knows every single one of those things. He's done it flawlessly for 28 years, and he's just done a phenomenal job. So it is really going to be interesting, Corey. This track, the Nashville Fairgrounds, very wide, quite a bit of banking, a little bit faster than you would normally see these late models at. And as we get ready to race here, obviously these guys have experience. They know the limit, but how much are they going to push? I mean, 400 laps, very uncommon for a late model race to go that far, that long. Where is the fatigue going to really set in? How much are they going to have to kind of play the patience game?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, even in the real world, they cut it back to 300 laps to kind of preserve the cost there. But with only 4 sets of tires, you're going to have to make decisions. You don't have a backup car to pull off the wall, so you'll have to really balance that situation. The first half of this race, a little bit rough around the edges. The middle seems to, tune itself out, and the back end of it tends to get tight again as drivers race for the money, and the money is the highest it has been here in the All-American 400, a record high $720 race purse, and there are 270 smackaroos to win this race. I mean, that is not chump change. So if it comes down to it, you're gonna try to do whatever has to be done within reason to take that prize home.
Yeah, I mean, as a longtime commentator, I've seen entire seasons where the prize pool for a champion over the course of months or weeks isn't even half of that. And here it is, $270 to win this single event. Of course, they did have to qualify in. There was all the preliminaries and everything, but for all intents and purposes, a prize pool that big on iRacing for a singular event is extremely gratuitous. I mean, that is something these guys are going to be fighting for, and I think it's going to turn up the intensity. These guys will race harder if they know there's $5 on the line, Corey, but when there's 270, I think you're going to see some moves that you've never seen on PTR TV.
Yep, and to a point with that, admin does have the discretion at the end of the day. It is in the little terms and conditions that you agree to, whether you realize it or not, that, we've seen it in, I go back to a race, this is many years ago. It was on the Podium 500, a lot of money on the line. Someone did something egregious, and there was a big dispute on whether or not to pay out the money. So, of course, we hope that doesn't happen, but you always have to plan for the unexpected. But we do want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. If it's your first time with us, don't make it your last. Hit the like and subscribe button. We're on our mission to 1,900 subscribers. We do have another late model series here on the channel. Some drivers in this race actually race in at the E-Car Late Models on Thursday. So if you like what you see, you may be able to find yourself in a race there on Thursdays amongst our other content. Have some fun in the chat. Usually this is a very bopping event. We will be interacting with our fans, having some polls, having some fan interaction here. So we would love to do that along with you. But this is again, very close to Veterans Day and the All-American 400. How else would we start it off but with our national anthem here today? Let's pay homage. All right, our national anthem has been brought to us, and now this Jimmy McKinley, another one of the people who was an originator of this race. He did a readout for us a couple years ago. We played it. We didn't get anything new out of him, but I like to still play it in honor of someone who was there in race number 1. Jimmy McKinley going to start our race off with the 4 famous words.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and the 26th Annual All-American 400. I want to thank Jim Foose and the American Sim Racing Series for keeping this event going and for keeping the dream alive. And now for the command, drivers, start your engines!
All right, we are ready and we are raring to get today's race off here at the Nashville Fairground Speedway. Let's head down trackside and give you that PTR TV starting lineup here for the 28th All-American 400. Starting today's race off from the front row, going to be Kyle Tursak, lap time of 17.605. Peyton Howell to the outside of the front row. I do got a privy. We have not been privy to these names at all, so we'll do our best, but we may get one wrong. Mark Keeteman going to be in third. Oliver Cordell in the fourth spot. Fifth finds Trent Smith, and then Carson Lucas going to roll off out of P6. Winston Deal out of seventh with Bladen Edwards in the eighth position. And then the round out of our top 10 is Braxton DeWeese, and then Nathan Coaster there, Mr. Dirt.
Looking outside the top 10, Carter Hollingsworth going to be P11. It is outside, you got Brandon Wilkinson. 13th goes to Steele Langford, and it is outside Kyle Goodbout in that 71. Behind them, Lane Hosler is going to be P15. Alan Young to his outside 16th. 17 and 18 going to go to Joey Burchett and Noah Kaufman, respectively. Running out the top 20 is going to be Chase Pearson, P19, and John Kenzard in P20.
Our next 20 will be James Pileski in 21st, Greg Evans in 22nd, Jordan Corrin in 23rd with Brent McCoy in the 24th spot. Then we find Aiden 25th with Zachary Honecker, 26th, Ryan Cole, 27th, Brandon Lucius, 28th, Travis Wright and Tyler Moore. Remember, he won the mini stocks. He'll be in 30th. And then just to round things out, because there are a couple alternates just in case, Corey Rogers, Brent Butler, Ryan Strunk, Matt Vaught, who won the 2023 running of this event. And then just to round out, Buzzy Mangello, Anthony Rosselli, Nick Smith, and Ethan Johnson. So that's 38 who registered, but Corey Rogers and Buzzy Mongold, they were alternates and they were not needed, so they will not be taking time here today. We are going to get an additional pace lap here, which gives us time to go over our race details. Again, 400 laparonis here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. You can do the math on the race distance there because I can't do it for you. But 4 sets of tires, no backup car, and we went over the prize there. $720, $270 of which going to our race winner.
The weather in the air, 71 degrees, track a little bit warmer, 74 degrees, 3:07 virtual time, so we don't got to worry about it changing too much as this race goes on. We will be racing into the evening. But the pace truck is getting ready to pull down in pit lane, and for the 28th consecutive year, we are going to roll towards that start-finish line for the beginning of the All-American 400. And there we go, Barney's waving that green flag, 2 wide all the way through. Lap number 1 underway, the 15 to a solo lead, 2 wide for second place, and some contact for 4th behind. I'm sure you're going to see a little bit more of that going on, bumping and banging all throughout the night. 3 and even 4 wide further back in the field. And we've got lap 1 carnage. Somebody's hit the wall at Mach. I can't even calculate that.
Yeah, that was crazy there. I was just about to say, it looks like we were going to get a full lap in, but not to be the case here. Let's go try to sort out something here on our PTR TV replay. I think Ryan Cole in the 60. Oh, it was already started. That black car. We'll have to sort things out here. A full grid. So obviously it's a little bit hard. I think this camera will do some pretty decent justice here. Well, 8 car got turned by the 28, and that's Kyle Goodbout. Nothing good about that.
No, nothing good there, getting caught up so early on. And I mean, the physics engine, not even really knowing what to do with that, throwing him back down the banking. And I'm surprised there was not more cars involved as he came back down. I think he went over that green and blue machine. He might have just completely Beybladed right over the competition. We'll take another look at it here. Yeah, just right over the hood. I've never seen anything like that in a late model.
And of course, the worst part of a caution such as that is that we do not have, again, a backup car. So a car damaged to that degree, of course, you're going to have cautions. You're going to be able to get it fixed. But if there's terminal engine damage, of course, terminal engine damage is terminal for a reason. So we'll see indeed what the case is there. I think he's going to have some interesting Paula's Pretzels, handmade daily. Well, I think he turned that car into a pretzel unintentionally.
Yeah, accurate sponsor, I reckon, and unfortunately no backup car, so we're not going to be able to untwist that pretzel. A lot of preparation down the tubes early on. You hate to see that, even if it's a one-off race, right? Even if he had just shown up and this was the only thing he had done, that's frustrating. But these guys had to qualify their way in. They had the preliminary event. They paid an entry fee. They put a lot of time and effort into gritting up for this race, and then to have it taken away that quickly, that's never an easy pill to swallow, but that is the world of motorsports, I suppose.
Yep, and we see it all the time. You know, the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, there always tends to be a lap one faux pas. So we'll see indeed what happens as we'll try this again. We are doubled up, stacked up. The lights are still on the pace truck, so they are doubled up and ready to go, but we won't be going this time around here. Just taking a gander at the pits drivers who have remained on the raceway. Brent McCoy, Matt Vodigan. He won the 2023 version of this race. Travis Wright, Jordan Corrin, 41 of Joey Burchett, Braxton Deweese. I believe if I go a little bit further up, one of these drivers, I think it was the 61, actually had, I think it was Goodbout land on the back bumper of his car. James Pileski, you can see some damage there, but we're getting ready. Jim did make the call. The cautions are all going to be shortened to about 3 laps maximum. Maximizes our racing, and let's try it again.
It's definitely a good call. Gets us back on track, and Barney waving that green flag just a little bit sooner. Once again, the 15 car is going to be out to a solo lead. We're going to single file out a little bit more up front than we had previously. You got to go back about 6 car lengths all the way to that number 22 of Winston Beal before you get any side-by-side action. And I think they might have calmed down just a little bit, maybe a bit of a slap of reality with that lap 1 incident, getting these guys to dial it back just a tone. Kyle Turzak still. Yeah, okay, well, commentator's curse. One driver around. I believe he was the only one involved. That'll be the number 1 machine getting it in reverse. Not even sure he hit that inside wall. We'll take a look at the PTR TV instant replay. Down on the bottom groove, he was too wide, caught a bump. You could see the car get unsettled, and he didn't even hit the wall. He's good to go.
Yeah, we could see here from the roll bar cam, watch him fight that wheel, and Nashville is not a freshly paved track, like many have been these days. So not always contact. Sometimes it is a self-induced error. Of course, we of the 48 people watching this race live, having fun in chat, glad to have everybody with us here. The pinned link in our YouTube chat is the live timing and scoring. So if you are looking to follow along, keep an eye on your favorite driver, see what he's up to, lap times, and all that fun goodies, you can get the in-depth live timing as the pinned link here in our YouTube chat. Good to see Jimmy McKinley again. Jimmy started the race for us, and again, always good to discuss. Have people who've been around through all sim generations. I think it was Brad last year, or perhaps you, I know you guys are roughly the same age, said this race has actually predated your lives. I can't say the same. I'm a little bit older, but it just goes to show again how long this has been in existence for.
Yeah, I think it's got me by a few months. I was April in 1998. So it's either just after, I don't know when exactly the first one was held, but it is as old or older than I am, and that is the tradition of this event. And that's what makes it so cool. I mean, to put your name on the list of drivers who've competed, let alone won one of these events in the 28-year history, it's got to feel pretty good. And I think that's why these guys are driving the way that they are, as aggressive as they are. That number 1, very lucky that he didn't get any damage. He's able to continue partaking in this event. as we are going to get the pace truck back down pit road. The quickie yellow is over, and we are going to be out and away. Again, that 15 getting such good starts. The number 2 not to be slept on either. He is keeping right with the leader. Good run out of the corner to the bumper, and it's going to be too wide all the way through the field from 4th on back. 72 machine on the inside of the 22. And I think that top groove can definitely work here at Nashville if you get it just right. Maybe not so much on fresh tires, but even still, that 22 pulling alongside the number 3, maybe even getting a bit of an advantage. Got some lane shifting going on. These drivers just trying to settle in now. 56, 53 side by side, and a lot of the field going single file as we've now gotten 2 green flag laps since the restart. And I think maybe that number 3 feeling a little bit crowded there, Corey. And we got a yellow flag on the circuit. Didn't catch what happened on the live camera, but must be something. Back in turns 3 and 4, I believe.
Our 2023 winner is, not to say completely out of it, because this race has its ebbs and flows, but quite hindered at present. The 80 car having issues of sorts. I think his issues were brought on by another vehicle.
It may have been.
It's to the 27 of Ethan Johnson. And here comes Matt. And also the 76 car of Brett
Bob
Butler.
he was trying to slow down for that. He got kind of arc a brake from behind and pushed into it. Unfortunate that happens in these big fields. You might react to it. You might slow down, but you can't be sure that everybody around you is going to do the same.
Yeah, unfortunate, but at least from a simulator perspective, there is some nose damage to that car, and I think he may have missed his stall. Nope, it registered him in there. But as long as the engine's okay, you're fine. And hell, even if the engine's not okay, you might still be fine. It's actually less torque to the rear wheels, so if anything, there might actually be a small advantage at certain instances.
Yeah, you're not necessarily wrong there. If they're lucky, they might get a bit of an advantage. But,
Braxton Deweese getting a free pass.
Yeah, we're going to get that car back on the lead lap. Crazy we're getting a free pass here on lap 16, but...
We are on 1 to green. Also of note, we do want to give a shout to our camera provider, and that is Whiplash Simcams. So if you like what you see, you can check them out on their Facebook social media page. Whiplash Simcams helping with the camera work here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. For us at PTR TV, have always had an alliance there with Andrew, so happy to help him out, and as he helps us out indeed. But let's try another restart lap number 18. Let's see if we can get some green flag racing in. The 2 of Keeneman really trying to get the edge up top. Think he got a little wheel spin trying to get overzealous there. Falls back in line. Peyton Howell trying to take advantage of the situation, but again, just the way this place races dirt, you can kind of make the run on the top because it is so bumpy on that inside lane.
Yeah, you definitely can. We've seen that inside line already reach out and bite a few drivers very early on in this event. So you got to kind of be careful. I think about half a lane up is where you want to be. If you're wrapping that yellow line, you're in a world of trouble. But further up the track, it gets a little bit smoother. So that's why you're seeing some of these guys opt for that lane if they can make it work, if they can find the speed. But it's not necessarily easy. So it's kind of a balancing act. How far down the track can you go before things get a little bit uncomfortable? And for a lot of these guys, the answer about half a lane, 1 lane, but they are going to single file out up front still. Kyle Turzak up front, Mark Kiddeman P2, Peyton Howell third, Oliver Cordell P5, Winston Deal running up the top 5. And it looks like the calm before the storm right now. A lot of single file, which is good to see. Getting some laps clocked off, but some double file a little bit further back. These guys jostling for position. Now, 4 sets of tires, Corey, 400 laps. I know from doing race control for a couple other late model leagues and watching these leagues, 100 laps is about where you hit the cliff of the tire fall off. And if you're really aggressive, if you really beat up that right front on your 100 lap run, you might not make it that far. You're going to hit the cliff probably about 85, 90 laps in. So there could be a bit of a conservation game going into this, and with the amount of cautions that we are kind of predicting to have, you don't want to be the guy that doesn't have tires at the end of this thing. So as much as outright pace is going to be a determining factor, I think strategy is going to be absolutely huge, Corey.
I agree with that 100%. Actually, the race that we were talking about off air, the race that you and I covered in 2023, there was actually 6 sets of tires, and I think admin kind of realized that maybe there wasn't enough strategy, and maybe we needed to tighten the virtual budget, so to speak. Saw some smoke off turn number 2, so yes, that went down to 4 sets. So you can't just pit at every single caution. You do have to play mindful of what you have. And even as we look up front to our leader, Kyle Tursak, who's in that clean air and just cruising along, but Keteman not letting him go. Already down about maybe 2.5 tenths on the watch. And look at this. Look at the different lanes at play. Going high. Again, evading the bumps, doing a little bit of a diamond approach. But you saw Keteman trying to roll the yellow line. That time by, whoa, he's dead slideways.
Yeah, I cannot believe he didn't completely spin out right there. That was quite the maneuver, but some separation up front. These 2 leaders pulling away from the rest of the field. A little bit further back, there's the 72, trailing the 33 of Steel Langford. These 2 bumper to bumper, and you can see a little bit further back there is Brendan Wilkinson, kind of keeping an eye on this battle, trying to reel them in, be a part of it. But yeah, we're getting some laps clocked here. We are definitely putting some wear on these tires, finally putting them through a heat cycle. And this is where the racing, I think, is beginning in earnest. You can see the pace that everybody's running. And so far, that pace is telling me Kyle Turzak and Mark Keteman, they are the class of the field at the moment. But, Corey, how long will that last? I mean, in these late models, generally, if you see somebody shoot out front, they boomerang right back.
Yeah, there's always that boomerang logic, as you said. As soon as you get out there, you get pulled back in, looks like a fishing reel. And looks like Keteman, I mean, he didn't really fall back, and that's really maybe a testament to Keteman. Again, this is all fixed setup, so this is nothing, tied in the chassis or in the suspension. This is all just drivers acclimating to what they've been given available to them. And Tursak really using that diamond approach seems to be working. And something that this may have changed since last year and even 2 years ago, Dirt, I think we are on expedited time, because I'm just looking here at the shadows and whatnot, and it looks like time is going by pretty quickly here. Of course, we're racing out of November 7th, and it is 3:30, so Nashville sunset time probably about 2 hours from now, so this probably will end under the lights. I don't know if that's happened here on a broadcast.
Yeah.
Oh no, right in front of the leaders!
No. That was right with the leaders. The number 2, who was running second place. Massive damage. It's a parking lot on the backstretch. We're going to take a look at the PTR TV instant replay. What happened here? Absolute carnage just beyond lap 20. Coming out of turn 2, this is looking down the back straightaway. Looks like the 87 spun around. The yellow maybe a little bit delayed in coming out. I can't see any caution lights, so I don't know when it happened, but
that
yeah,
was the 2.
Speed. Leaders just, I mean, the leaders were going full speed.
That was Keteman. Yeah, that was Keteman. So second place, likely decimated here. Let's get one more perspective on the replay. For some reason, my roof cam isn't working, so maybe some antenna issues there. But
oh, yeah. My question, Corey, is when did the caution come out? Because I mean, it was like they weren't even remotely expecting an issue. When they came out of that corner, it was full bore. The 15, I don't know how he snuck through. The 2 was not as fortunate. But, man, oh, man. Look at that.
Yeah, the 15 did get contact. He did get contact in there. The 15 of Kyle Tursak. We'll get one more perspective. We do have a myriad of different pit strategies. Actually, Tursak essentially was doing a slalom here. Down low, up high. I get one more. Try to get a blimp shot here.
Save him.
All right, this is a high shot here. I think I'm a little bit far back, but we'll just let this play out. Because again, this is race changing right here. This is the 2 fastest guys who now have to bat from behind. Again, the caution, I don't know where the caution was, but you got to give Tursak credit. He tried to teeter that as best as he could, but again, just absolute terrible.
I'm not convinced he's got damage, Corey. I really think netcode might have just saved him there because it doesn't look crumpled to me, and he's on the onboard. He didn't lose any momentum. I mean, he just kept on trucking.
Yeah, maybe he lucked out. Now, Keteman, not so lucky. I mean, he absolutely, yeah, Keteman, you can see there, if I can get a rear shot here, of course, the second I get it, he leaves the pits. That's just luck, but yeah, he definitely T-boned that hardcore. So who is the lottery ticket winner of that? Looks like it's going to be Oliver Cordell and Winston Deal. They will have taken advantage of that situation. And it looks as though from about 19th on back, we did have pit stops, whether for damage, fuel, or what have you. But that is game changing. And that's what happened. Survival was our key here, number one fact, and seeming to be the case. But let's try a restart. Oliver Cordell, the man in charge.
And away we go for the first time with a new leader. 117 machine, that red, white, and blue late model, under challenge from another red, white, and blue late model, Winston Deal, the 22, who was a little bit further back in the field, who's been the benefactor of some of these issues, now trying to fight for the lead, give him a little bit of a shot middle of the corner, give him a knock on the door, says, I'm here, but not quite able to get around him just yet. They're going to stay single file. The 33, also a part of the steel Langford. Brandon Wilkinson not too far behind. And as for the former leader, you got to go way far back in the pack to see that number 15. He's not even really a factor at the moment. But up front, they continue to battle. We'll see if he can get a bit of a recovery. That roof number is facing the fence. Just want to point that one out, as tends to happen sometimes.
I was actually rewatching I don't remember which one it was, but on one of our prior broadcasts, that was actually a topic we were discussing, is which way is it supposed to go? Is it supposed to face the spotters for safety or the TV cameras for entertainment? I think I know the actual answer, but different interpretations can be had. James Pileski in the 93, the very vibrantly colored 93 car, was making a move. I don't know if he was going up or going down, but it looks as though Carter Hollingsworth in the 28 is getting ready to make a charge. Behind that, Chase Pierce and Tyler Muller. It said he won the mini stock race here earlier this week and cracking his way into or near the top 10.
Yeah, he's gained quite a bit, up 19 from where he began. That is nothing to scoff at, and so far kept his nose clean. He's made some moves on pace, made some moves based on the misfortunes of others, and overall just picking up those positions and plenty of time to get the ones left to find as well, as we are 44 laps into 400 laps total. So plenty of racing remaining. Got to stay patient. Don't get too anxious about it. Oliver Cordell was under some heavy pressure there, Corey. Winston Deal was giving him shots to the bumper, but I think they've settled in just a little bit. Oliver, he's the Iceman. He didn't crack under that pressure. He held on to the lead. Steele Langford right there with him, and now we're seeing a bit of a 3-car breakaway as opposed to that initial 2-car breakaway we saw early in the race. And Bladen Edwards moves up to P4. He just overtook Brandon Wilkinson. Seems to have some really good pace in that 56. So, oh boy.
Brandon Lucius and Zachary Honecker, I believe. Oh, 80. Holy. 80 just sent someone into the shadow realm, taking a line out of your book there, Dirt. Oh, that white car. Who was that white car on his lid?
Wasn't quite able to make it out.
I can't quite catch who that white car was. We'll do a little bit more recon here and try to sort that out, because obviously that was a rather spectacular incident. Looks like it was the number 9 car. I'm trying to find a number 9 car. Nick Smith got loose. Same way we saw earlier. Hospital wobble. 29 car. Oh, what's that song? Such a bad time to leave me, loose wheel.
Yeah, and with no quick repair, that is going to be detrimental damage. I mean, it was just a bit of an overcorrected snap back to the right, and just a weird instance of the physics doing what they do. I think he was just in the midst of kind of high-siding the center of gravity there right when he got hit.
How long is the wheel
and it
gonna
was
hang
just
there?
enough. He's going to keep rolling. It's got some banking to go down, I think.
All right, this is
Oh,
actually
yeah,
this is entertaining, actually.
Right down
Wow.
the banking, out of frame.
No, it's
There she goes.
I know I'm supposed to be cutting back to live footage, but the fact that it lasted that long was modestly entertaining there. So we'll cut back to live footage here. We are back to live footage. The stinger didn't work, but we are back to live footage here. And again, no pit stops up front. I will change the ticker over momentarily, and this will give you a knowledge sense of who has pit and who has not. The stint length, of course, being the amount of time that they have been since they have seen pit road. So, of course, 50 means you haven't pit at all. I think the first one, Kyle Tursak, who, if he can come back from this, which he obviously has the time and he obviously has the talent, is the car up to snuff? It appears it is, but again, surface level doesn't always describe what's going on under the hood.
No, it could look good to us and feel completely different behind the wheel, so we'll have to wait and see as we are gearing up for another restart here at the Nashville Fairgrounds, this time lap 50. So we are now an eighth of the way through this event. I'm hearing chaos.
You're seeing chaos.
Oh, somebody's upside down. Somebody get that man
I don't know
a
if...
beverage. He's going to need it.
I mean, I know there's insurance premiums that have to get paid prior to any motorsports event happening. I hope Jim took out a good package for this one. We'll have to go a little bit further up here. The 60 of Ryan Cole was the one that met the inside pavement here. So we'll stay focused on him for the duration of this restart. Oh, they were wrecking the 93, 28. So 93 and 28. Carter Hollingsworth.
Who is putting super glue on the sidewalls of these late models? I've never seen so many late models get upside down and airborne in my life.
I mean, I know these cars have kind of the ramping physics. 93 thought he was clear, was not. Like, I know that these late models do have the kind of ramping physics, nose to rear, but yeah, certainly I've not seen them go upside down nearly this much here. As we said we weren't going to hit 36 cautions. Well, if you're new to PTR TV, we have all the technology to show you visually on the ticker how many cautions we've had. That's not how we roll here. We like to have fun, interactive guessing games, and the longer this race goes and the more cautions we have, the more entertaining those games get. But later on in the event, we'll kind of do a little guessing game, and you know how sometimes we're close, sometimes we're not, but that number is ticking up a little bit there, Dirt.
The problem is you always prices right me. I make a guess and then you just say whatever's right.
I'll go first. So that's an easy problem to fix. I'll go first. Well, the thing is I always feel bad about it. Because I'm like, my guess is always pretty close, but I'm like, what do I do? Because that's the worst thing. I watch the Prices Right in reality, and they've actually developed a new strategy with analytics where someone will bid $1 and then they'll go to. I've actually seen that 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes all the fun out of the show, but I digress. But the more cautions we have, we will need to find filler topics, so give us to us in chat. But either way, Cordell and Deal on the front row once again. We are now surpassed 1/8 distance of this race, which I know to be 12.5%. Did that math? So you didn't have to. Rest in peace, Bill Weber.
There you go. Yeah, I was just going to say we were 1/8 of the way through, and then somebody was upside down. I got cut off. So we are back underway again. Oliver Cordell is going to have to do it again. And he does. He gets a really good start. The 33 able to get to the inside of that 22 machine. 22 said, hey, bottom lane didn't work last restart. Let's move to the top, see what I can do with it. And he's kind of migrated up there a couple times. It seems like we've seen that 22 work the top groove numerous times throughout the 50 laps that we've been racing, and they're going to stay side by side for a second. A little bit further back, there's the 37 also on the outside. That is Chase Pierce. A little bit of a brush with the outside wall, no momentum lost there. And as for this battle for second, I think it's shaping up to be in Steele Langford's favor. I think he's going to get around that 22. Now, riding on board with Bladen Edwards, he is the P4 machine. He's been moving his way up the grid, showing some good pace. So don't count this guy out, as they are going to remain single file through 3 and 4 to come to complete lap 58. A little bit further back, it is just a hornet's nest. They're single file, Corey, but there's really not a lot of room to play with, even though they are single file. It's still bumper to bumper, and then you got the 67. Ryan Strunk said, I don't want your single file. I want to be up here. Maybe a bit of a bold place to be when you're on the outside. It's less distance to go to the wall, but that is where he is. He's making it work. Top 10 currently. He's fighting for that top 10. And there's that number 15, Kyle Terzak. Well, I think that car is handling good enough, Corey.
Yeah, I would agree as such. Now this race, it has progressed obviously through the years. 1998, I think NASCAR Racing 3 was what we had. Then there was NASCAR Racing 4, NASCAR Racing 1999 edition thrown in there. And then we eventually got into the 2002s, 2003s. But I know, because I'm this old, I raced this track in NASCAR 1999 edition on the PC. And I'll tell you, Dirt, it was a completely different track back then. Of course, the graphics were in 64 quality, but this place was smooth as glass. And when the track is smooth, it's very easy to run side by side. All of that to say, as you were saying, when you're side by side here at the fairgrounds with all of the bumps, all of the undulations that this place offers, it's not comfortable running side by side like it would be even at a Bristol.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, and we've seen it so many times. I mean, the onboard cameras, it is unbelievable the conditions they're dealing with on the low line. This track has not gotten any TLC in quite some time, so it has just been left to deteriorate. But honestly, I think once they get settled in and the aggression levels go down, a rough racetrack sometimes produces the absolute best racing that you're going to see. It keeps the drivers on their toes. It means that they can't just get in the line and ride. They've got to really muscle those cars around the track, and makes for a good show. That's why generally when a racetrack gets repaved, a lot of people are disappointed. They miss the character. Those bumps and dips and divots and grooves really give the track. Following along now with that 15, he's moved from 11th to 10th, and now he is looking for P9. Tyler Muller having to play some defense on the outside, and he does just barely get a run, but it is not going to be safe for long. Don't call him safe just yet, because through 3 and 4 down the bottom groove, looks like that 15 can get just a little bit lower in 3 and 4 than anybody else if he wants to. He seems to be pretty comfortable in those bumps towards that yellow line, and here he goes again, right down to that yellow line. Gets to the inside, but he's not quite going to get a run out, I don't think. Should be advantage of the 78. Yes, the contact, advantage of the 78, but that contact slowed them both down. Now side by side, once again through 1 and 2. Those bumps drastically scuffing speed away from that 15. He is trapped. Some damage to the left front of that 78 from that contact. I don't know, Corey, if that is just visual or if he's feeling that. He might be feeling it. Into the outside wall he goes. What an action-packed battle here, the 78 versus the 15. I think finally, give it one more set of corners, the 15 may get clear. Might have to throw a bit of a slider on him. He's not going to risk it. Does not move up the track just yet. There it is. He is cleared by a millimeter, but it was clear nonetheless. He takes it.
And just as he does that, Honecker, which I believe this, well, actually it's hard to say, because this ASR sanction does kind of do if you get enough cautions for cause, it is the boot, but in this instance, yeah, he was not at the cause there. I think that may have been, in fact, Brent Butler in the number 76 automobile. Let's take a gander here down to the inside. To the outside right now is Honecker. See Honecker getting the run, yeah. Another aspect of the races under the American Sim Racing sanction is they do have the all-me rule, so therefore if you know that you are the cause of the caution, you put it out on driver channels, let the admin know, you get the EOL dropped to the back of the pack. If you don't respond to the all me call, the rate that gets put up for race control decision post-race, and if it is deemed that is your fault and you didn't call it out, let's just say you ain't finishing where you thought you did. So again, all the little nuances here of ASR as someone getting their free pass. That would be Mark Keedeman. This is putting him on the lead lap, but look at that right front there. That right front, is it right front? I know the camber is a little weird in these late models.
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit. He was involved also in that second incident after his big accident. He kind of got thrown into that second wreck as well. So he's going to get the lucky dog, but he is going to try to get as much of that repaired as he can.
Third pit
now,
stop.
These late model stocks, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, but are these
super
not
late models?
one of the super late models? I apologize. These are one of the cars that can be fully repaired given enough time, are they not?
That would be $1 million question. So my interpretation, and this is just knowing the service the way we do, this car is not a heavily updated car in the sense that iRacing doesn't tinker with it like they do the NASCAR Cup and, you know, top 3 series cars and IndyCar and whatnot. So I have a feeling it's going to be on the older damage model, that it's not going to get fully repaired. So my assumption is no, but I can't. Perhaps one of our massive amount of YouTube followers can let us know that.
Yeah, maybe you should have asked. I know somebody who would know, and I should have maybe asked them beforehand. But yeah, some cars on iRacing, they can be repaired fully given enough time, and then a lot of the newer cars, you can't do that. Like once it's damaged, it's damaged. That's all there is to it. Pace truck pulls off of the racing circuit, and once again, coming to lap 75, we're going to be going green. Barney is getting a lot of use out of that flag today. His arm is going to be pretty sore by the end of the night. And away we go, picking up incredible speed. The acceleration on these super lates is something to be admired. On the outside, it looks like Cordell did not get the best restart as he was challenged on the outside by that number 33. Getting a really good run there. That might be all she wrote. The 117 cannot fight back here. Down on that bottom groove, nose to nose for the lead. The 22 right behind him. There's some challenge as well from Bladen. I don't know. This is going to be a really close battle. That 33, I think, has the advantage through 3 and 4 on that outside group. Then you get down to the 1 and 2 section, and that advantage goes away. He is clear into the lead. Official new race leader, the number 33. The challenge does not end for Cordell, Corey, because he is getting hounded by that number 22.
Yeah, that 22 absolutely showing some heavy pace here. Winston Deal, and he actually broadcasted one of the preliminary races, WD broadcasted. Winston Deal, if you didn't know what that stood for. But another point, Andre, to bring up with the varying lines. Of course, we do have to remember iRacing does have that dynamic track system, and with this many laps and this many cars and all of the load into the track that these super late models put in, they will heat up the lanes, and that can create dynamicism, if such word exists, of moving that groove around, making that outside work. And part of the upside, maybe it has more grip as the track heats up, but it also is less bumpy, which is why we have some of these so to speak, never-ending side-by-side battles.
Yeah, it definitely contributes to that big time, which contributes to the action. We're seeing some contact right there. I thought that was going to be yellow flag, but they're able to get that sorted out. Still side-by-side for that number 69 machine, 41 on the outside. That 53 continues to drop back a ways. We might see some 3 wide. They are really going for every position here, coming close to 1/4 of the way through this event. About 81 already, coming to 82. And these guys, you know, still a lot of racing ahead of them, but at the same time, you don't want to settle in too far back in the pack because, I don't know about you, Corey, but even with these yellows, I'm a little surprised. It feels like this race is going by very quickly, which generally is not the case for a race with, you know, this many incidents, but it's going by quick, and these guys want the track position.
Yep, this race, if it was to go green from this point on, it would be roughly an hour and a half of green flag racing per our the calculator that my overlay software provides me here. So 90 minutes, not a long time, even though 320 laps, 315, sounds like a lot, but we are again kicking around this place in 18 seconds. So this race can go by. Don't have fuel numbers for you. I'd be absolutely floored if we do have green flag pit stops, but you can never completely make that assumption unwritten there. It can happen, so it would be unlikely, though. Up front, the top the top 12 drivers have yet to pit. So, I mean, just on that loose point there, say they can probably go 120 laps on fuel with all the cautions we've had. Maybe they can go 140 or so. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario for those guys is that this race does go green.
Yeah, they definitely want the yellows just to kind of aid with strategy. Again, you really hit a wall on tire wear after about 100 laps of green flag racing. Fortunately for them, with all the yellows, the tires have not gotten the wear that they would normally have here on lap 87, so the cars are probably still feeling okay, but definitely not as good as they did to start this event. And as the race goes on, I think we're going to see green flag runs become more and more commonplace because we're going to have some attrition. Cars get damaged, they're not able to battle as close as they once were. Some drivers are going to drop out. You can see the graveyard back there from 31st on back. A lot of drivers DNFing the event already. And as that field thins out, the green flag runs go on longer and longer, and that's going to be a challenge for these guys to contend with.
Yeah, you could already tell there as the ticker does scroll back on the bottom to the, as you called it, the graveyard there. We have, 6 retirees: Greg Evans, Jordan Corrin, Peyton Howell, Brent McCoy, Matt Vaught, and Kyle Goodbout have all since retired. James Pileski and Carter Hollinsworth may as well be retired. They've been in the pits for 10 minutes, which I believe is the damage cutoff here. I know last year there was a 10-minute. If you're in the pits for 10 minutes, you're out of the race. So that would leave 28. Actually, Alan Young. No, Alan Young is chugging. He's 31 laps down, but he is chugging here. So ultimately, I'd say 27 drivers on the track of modest pace. The 60 of Ryan Cole being 4 laps down. I believe he was the one on his lid earlier. But here's Mark Keteman. Remember, he was second place. He was the one that T-boned at Lapper off turn 2 at full bore. He got worse then than Kyle Tursak did, but he is trying to get himself into the thick of it here. His last lap time, just as reference, he ran an 18.9. Up front, they're running 18.2, so he's got 7/10 of damage that hopefully he can get rectified.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure with this car how much he can really get repaired through repeated pit stops, but he's at least still in the race. And, maybe a bit of a stretch, but he could get back inside the top 10. We talked about, the prize pool at the start of this race, and if you can finish inside the top 10, you basically got your entry fee back. So that's going to be a motivating factor. I don't think we're going to count him down and out just yet. And even if he can't get the car fully repaired, we are probably going to have more yellows down the line, which will give him time to at least beat out a few more of the dents and get back going. But Trent Smith in that number 3, this is a battle. 78 to 88, boxing in. He's got cars high, cars behind, nowhere to really go. 78 seems to be unable to escape these side-by-side battles. Remember, he was fighting with the number 15 of Kyle Turzak not too long ago. Speaking of Kyle Turzak, he is now P6, so he's gained quite a bit from when we last checked in on him. This was the former race leader before that kind of confusing situation with cars wrecked on the back straightaway. These guys came through full speed. Same incident as the number 2. He was all the way back in 16th position, but he's raced his way back up the grid and still showing really good pace. I think, give it about another 40 laps, Corey, you might see this guy back up front once again. But in the meantime, he's got some competition to contend with. Chase Pierce, haven't really talked a lot about him either, but he did work his way inside the top 5. He's posting lap times consistent with the leaders, not having a bad day. The other thing to think about, Corey, as this race goes on, more and more lap traffic for these guys to deal with. And lap traffic isn't the hardest thing to deal with at this track. Luckily, it's wide enough. They've got plenty of room to get out of the way. But as you'll notice from our stationary cam, these drivers love to arc the corners. They enter high, they exit high. They're using every inch, so while the track looks wide, if lap traffic just happens to be in your line, it might be a bit of a pick and an opportunity for somebody to pick up a position.
Well, As Brad likes to say on our other broadcasts, traffic giveth, well, he actually says it, unlike what I can do right now. You know what I'm trying to say, Derek. Can you enunciate it? I think I've had too much caffeine.
Enunciate what?
Traffic giveth and traffic...
Traffic giveth, traffic taketh.
There we go. For some reason, I couldn't utter that here. I've had about 3 Coca-Colas and a coffee here today because I just knew I was tired and I needed the energy, and I have the energy, so we'll make it last for another 300 laps, just as these drivers need to. And as you can tell from our various angles here that we've provided to you by Whiplash Sim Cams, the lights should be coming on here in relative short order here. We are now at 4:30 sim time, which, I mean, given the fact that we're in Nashville, I'd reckon, actually, I think the lights are on here. It's kind of a 2-stage lighting process, so the lights have turned on, and the lights will turn on in sim probably in about 15 minutes. So this is a night race, which I think is the first AA 400 under the lights here that we've provided to you. So that's just a little nuance of information. I guess we'll keep track of the track temp. 79. I think you disclosed the weather. I don't know if you remember that, but we'll keep an eye on that track temp.
It was 74 when we started, so it's actually gotten a bit warmer, which makes sense. These guys are putting down laps, laying down rubber. The track temp does tend to go up a little bit, but as the sun goes down, I think you're going to see it fluctuate right back down to about where it was when we started, maybe even a little bit lower as we race into the night. And I believe you're correct. We didn't even come close to the lights coming on when I covered it in 2023, so going to be interesting, and this track is really going to grip up, which may make that bottom groove, which is so intimidating right now with all those bumps and dips, might make it a little bit more viable when the grip levels come up.
Yeah, which that leads to a couple different things. It leads to, faster lap times, which sometimes leads to more tire wear as you're loading up those tires even more, and sometimes it leads to making things harder to pass, where the issues that some drivers may be dealing with the slick tracks, they no longer deal with those problems. So different situations that can occur. Somebody kissed the concrete pretty mightily there off the corner. That was the number 41 of Joey Burchett there. But again, some of these cars are pretty significantly damaged. Other ones can deal with a little bit of damage here. All-American 400 back in 2017. So got another former champion here. And that wouldn't have been here at this racetrack, I believe, and I know many people in chat will correct me on this. I know they held this race at the USA International Speedway on iRacing for a couple years, because of course Nashville wasn't made available until about 2021. So again, this race hasn't just spanned the sims, it's actually spanned the tracks as well.
Yeah, obviously with sim racing, you don't always have the track scans available. Sometimes you got to kind of fudge it and get close enough. But iRacing over the years has added so many tracks and so many ways to play this game that you can basically emulate the real thing down to the circuit, the cars, the rules, everything. Except we're doing it a little different. Like you said, the real life All-American, they cut some laps, trying to cut the budget a little bit. Here in Sim, we're still doing 400 laps. We are putting these drivers to the test, which I think is a good change. Going to make it very interesting. Cordell picking up some long run pace here. He had fallen off the back bumper of Langford quite a bit, and now he is really getting that roll through the center of the corner for you. You can see he closes that gap so much, just really nowhere to take it quite yet. And Winston Deal, WD, not far behind him either. He's a part of this train. Bladen Edwards a little bit further back. He's trying to cling on to him, but he's starting to lose him a little bit. Somebody down on the apron, I don't know what that was all about.
Someone entering the pits, I do believe that was. We'll see it on the ticker soon enough here. But Cordell looking at the bottom. One thing that we've never noticed here in the AA 400, at least that we've covered, is brake rotors. That never has really been a thing, but we've never covered this race under the lights before. And they are doing a significant amount of slowing down here. Let's just bring up our Whiplash onboard telemetry here, getting down to a low of about 89 miles an hour. And what are they peaking out at here? About 130 or so, and that's on old tires, so that might be a little bit higher, and especially will be higher once you get fresh tires on a cooler track. But We're getting to that point, Dirt. We talk about it all the time. Whenever you stay out, you stay out, you stay out, you get to that point where you wonder, all right, when's the caution coming out? I need the caution. We are getting to the point, and maybe someone again in our audience here, which again, if you're watching this broadcast, like, share, comment, subscribe, have some fun with us. We appreciate all you guys. What is the fuel range in these super late models at this racetrack here? We're at 120. We've had a myriad of yellows, but it's not infinite fuel. It has to be coming around the corner.
Yeah, I'd imagine give them another 20, 30 laps, they'll be spitting and sputtering, but all the cautions definitely extended the range that they had going into this race, and that extended range only means more stress on the tires as well. So far, 119 laps for a lot of these guys, except for Kyle Terzak came down pit road to get some damage fixed. Really, anybody you see came down pit road did so as a result of an incident. They probably did not take tires. If they did, they're going to be at a huge disadvantage later in the race. But look at this, the 53 machine, Nathan Coaster, made a little bit of contact there, bumping and rubbing down on the bottom groove. Not quite able to clear him yet. 67 fighting back on that high side. Ryan Strunk, he was inside the top 10. He has just been in Alicia Keys mode, as you would say. And what was that? Oh man, for a minute I thought he might have spun out. He got a little bit squirrely there. But he able to keep it going nose to nose. I don't really know who's going to get the advantage here.
And this time by, I think Strunk may have got a little bit too high, but that might have actually worked to his advantage there, giving him a little bit more momentum on corner exit. But slide job, yeah, not clear. I mean, I guess he made himself clear in the form of Nathan Coaster. Strunk will add that in the old Jimmy Spencer memory bank.
That was definitely a close call. We've been green for quite some time, comparatively, compared to previous stints that I almost dropped. Yeah, we're dropping things. That's what we're doing. With the 41, the 67, as I said, to quote you there, Corey, Alicia Keys mode, I don't think the long run speed is there. He is free falling through the grid, the 41 hounding him. One car into the wall, not too far behind him, and you'll see that as the tires wear. These cars are going to get more and more tight on exit. They're going to slide up towards that outside wall, and once you get that, not necessarily a Darlington stripe, we're not at Darlington, but once you get that Nashville stripe, that car may not be winning as well. Now side by side goes Wilkinson. That is going to be for the 5th position. 37 gets out of the groove, has to check up a little bit of a panic lift. And at number 3, Trent Smith in the middle. Has some good pace there. Behind him going side by side again for just a moment. There's battles all over this track, and you got to wonder, do these drivers that are trapped on the high side start thinking about getting down for when they do need to pit?
Well, obviously the pits here at this racetrack, I mean, I'm not going to go and say it's the hardest oval to pit on. It's not necessarily easy. You do have to peel off the, I believe it to be 18 degrees of banking here at the fairgrounds, hold that very flat and marbly apron, and then if you mess up, you have a nice pit wall there to let you know that you messed up pretty significantly. So hopefully you practiced it. That's something that not a lot of drivers do. And actually, let's just kind of go on board very briefly here, because I'm pretty sure there's actually a very narrow entry here. Again, I have a roof cam. For some reason it's glitching because the new UI is just not having fun, but yeah, there's a very narrow pit entrance here there. So I'll try to get one more shot of here on our blimp cam, but if you mess up, you don't really have a reprieve here. You're gonna have to nail that. Look how narrow that pit entry is.
Yeah, and they're going to want to get in, obviously, at a good rate of speed, just straddling that speed limit as best they can. The exit's pretty open and free, but that entry, they're going to be doing some slaloming into the pit road, for lack of better terms. This 60 machine, who was at one point on his lid, is going to go a little bit wide here, going a lap down, I believe, to the race leaders. Kind of let them get around.
And Mark Keedeman, by the way, has gone one lap down. Remember, did all the work to try to get in position, and now he's like, I still got like 2 or 3 minutes of work, guys. Come on, keep wrecking. Let me get back in it. But now we're having that long green flag run. minimal commercial interruption here at the All-American 400, and basically I don't want to cut to commercial right now because I feel like as soon as I do, we're going to go and have pit stops. So we'll pause that for you here, as I think we may have pit stops. Yes, we do. Oliver Cordell, right on cue. And somebody is stopped in the pits. Is he out of fuel?
That could be.
That's
he is just
Ethan
barely
Johnson.
coasting. 27. That looks like a car out of fuel to me.
So 134 laps, and that is with a myriad of cautions. I will still keep that number private because we'll play our game later. But here comes Carson Lucas, and again, we're doing 4 tire stops here, Derek. We're not changing tires at Next Gen and in Xfinity / O'Reilly Auto Parts speeds. We're changing 4 tires at Billy Bob, who's the volunteer who works at Sonic speed. So it's going to take longer. You're going to lose a few laps here.
Yeah, and those laps are going to be difficult to get back. There's a lot of cars. Oh, somebody big in reverse. They completely missed their stall. Not sure
That was,
what was going on.
Nick
Maybe
Smith.
they were listening to a podcast in the old earbuds and just kind of brain farted on past their stall. I don't.
Yeah. Or maybe, I mean, a lot of drivers in this race are young, so maybe he just decided this was some parallel parking practice here. Not the best time for it, but pit stops here definitely. That was Ryan Strunk. So the trend is right now, Dirt, that everybody who is parked right at the beginning of pit lane is just not realizing it, and they are overshooting their box and having to put it in reverse. That's not an inch. That's I completely missed my box.
Yeah, that was the wrong stall altogether. So add that to the list of challenges these guys got to face coming down pit road here. It really seems like they got to come in at a 90-degree angle when they're that far back. It is not spaced out very generously, as we've got a few more cars down on the apron. You can see ahead of our leaders coming out of pit road. That is Ryan Strunk. And here comes the 22 down to the apron. He's going to be taking his pit stop, leaving the leader, Steele Langford, on his own. Luckily, he's a little bit further down pit road. Hopefully, he does not miss his pit stall. He's at some really good pace. Pit road, a busy place. Number 78, right sides go up. You're probably going to see the left side go up as well. No reason not to take tires here, Corey. You got 4 sets. We are well beyond.
Oh,
no! Oh, no.
I'm looking feverishly. Let's try to find a cause for this one. Nothing obvious came across my my feed there, but I will do some recon here. I think it may have been the 41 car. No, he was slow. I'm looking all over. If I know people are watching this live, I'm looking all over. I don't see anything obvious, which again, it happens here on iRacing. You know, I don't have 10 people in my broadcast booth here giving me situations here, so fortunately, I don't know what that caution was. Nothing is triggering on my back-end systems, so I'll take one more.
Could it have been, Corey, somebody slowing down for pit road and maybe when somebody went by them, the algorithm got confused?
I found it off of turn number 2, just as I was about to give up. That's why you never give up in life.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. He had just come down pit road. He was one
Nick
of the drivers
Smith.
that missed his stall.
That was Nick Smith, and he exited out of the world as quickly as possible, which was why I struggled so hard to find it. That may have been his second caution of the race, which if you do cause 2, you get the boot. So,
and given his recent pit stop, I'm going to say it, Corey. I'm going to say the thing. Cold tires are cold.
tis they are.
Gotta be careful.
Now, here is the point. Oh, while we were going through that replay, a couple of the points I want to bring up too. Marbles huge here. If your bit rate is high enough, the stream is in 1440p. If you're watching at 1440p, you can probably see the marbles to the inside. That's certainly hurting. because you do have to run in 1 and 2 down there on the flat. You do have to run in those marbles. They have kind of cleared a little bit of a lane through it, but that'll fill back in. Secondly, Kyle Tursak is our leader, because remember, he was on that alternate strat because of all the damage repair he had to do. So he got to stay out, as did the top 10 or so. And then we have a myriad of drivers who had to take a wave around, and we have a bunch of drivers, including Oliver Cordell, who is stuck 1 lap down. He was 2, had to take a wave, still 1 lap in arrears as we're back to green.
And Kyle Turzak going to take the lead for the first time since that incident.
Oh, we're wrecking.
Oh, no. Here comes the yellow. There it is.
That is the number 10 car, I believe that was. If there even is a 10 car. But we'll cue up the replay here. This turn 2 exit camera has been a very busy one here today. Number 10, and is that Honecker again? It is.
I think it was, yeah.
And then Travis Wright is the 10 car. So now we've cued in on the culprits, so we'll now fine-tune the damage here. 87 to the outside. I see where this is going. Oh, wait, double-faceted here.
72 gave him a bit of a shot there. I think that was the...
But the 87 was around all by his lonesome anyways. But yeah, the 72 definitely gave a shot to the 10. The 87 was going to go around anyways.
Well, and the reason the 72 gave him that shot was because he got loose on his own. You could see he was off base there. So the 87 and the 10 both independently got loose of one another. And, I mean, really nowhere to go for that 72. He didn't quite expect that. I think maybe 87 could have brought that around if he didn't get that extra help. But either way, they were both already having issues before contact was ever made. That was an interesting case study in synchronized spinning.
This is on board.
Now you watch that 10. Yep, just a little bit screwing out the bump.
He would have saved it on his own, but again, yeah, he was so off pace that just not enough reaction time there for the 72 to, well, react to it. But we are still pushing sub halfway here, and attrition is certainly starting to kick in, but that will hurt some. Obviously those who have attritioned, if such word exists. But then Mark Keteman, I think he may have taken a calculated gamble here, Dirt. He was a lap down. That car is looking way better, but he's now 5 laps down. So did he just bite the bullet, get a ton of damage repaired, and just say, all right, I'll find a way to get the laps back?
That could have been the case. I'm also wanting to point out here that due to when that caution came out, only the top 14 are on the lead lap. 15th on back are a lap down. They were on pit road for the most part, including Oliver Cordell, who was a former race leader, now trapped a lap down, currently in the lucky dog position. But green flag flies, and we will be thinking about that later, because right now there is a race to watch. The 53 Nathan Coaster, this is as far up the grid as he's been. Best opportunity he's had at a race lead, but he sees that 15 getting a good jump, starting to sail away just a little bit. Steele Langford and Joey Burchett, another driver that was a little bit further back in the field, just outside of the top 10. Now he is up inside the top 5, so comers and goers, a lot of moving through the grid. As we are going to get single file for the most part, but that 78, leave it to him. He has not been able to escape these battles all night long. That has been his role as long as we have been racing, to be battling with somebody. There's that number 22. He had come down pit road when that caution came out, so an unfortunate break for Winston, but he is on the lead lap at the very least, so if he has the pace, he can pick up these positions in a better position than most. And also, another benefactor I want to point out of that yellow flag, Corey, John Canizard, if that's how you pronounce it. He was, I believe, back in the low teens, high 20s in position. He was involved in one of the very early cautions, a single car spin down to the inside, didn't get any damage. But he was in the right place at the right time. Now he's inside the top 10, and I think, just based off the pace, he might be able to hold on to it.
Right now, currently battling with the 8 of Braxton Deweese, a name that I have raced with. He races in the week-to-week ASR series. ASR has held a myriad of different series over time. Right now, they have just finished a season of the Tweedcast Truck Series, which they will be bringing back in 2026, and other series are in the works and of interest, but nothing formalized of yet. Again, I've raced with a few of these drivers here. Alan Young was another one I've raced with. He is one of the ones chugging around here, 39 laps down. How he's doing that is baffling to me. I wouldn't have the sportsmanship to do it myself. Another one, Greg Evans, a champion. He is out as well. Of course, again, if you're watching late, we want to thank the partners here, most of which are affiliated with Jim, who does all the heavy lifting here. This is basically a one-man circus to make all of this happen, and we appreciate that. Speedway Action Images, his photography company, puts a lot of great work in. He travels all across Ohio and other nearby states of that vicinity, taking some high-quality photography work there. You can support him there. Speedway Action Images, a magazine of all Ohio and nearby short track action. And again, the NOSRA is a new sim racing league to be formed. So again, all of this put on by him, no back-end partners here. Again, a one-man show, and again, have to thank him for all of the work, all of the endurance that has gone into doing this for over longer than half this field has been alive.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge accomplishment. I mean, again, as a longtime commentator, I have seen annual events and leagues come and go. They last a year or two, sometimes 5 on the upper end, but to see an event last as long as this has, to continue going, and not just to continue, but to grow. I mean, again, this event just gets bigger and bigger. A huge prize pool this year. It is impressive, the organization and the amount of excitement that he's able to drum up. Because look, anybody can put a session up, anybody can say, hey guys, let's all get together, let's run a race. But to get people to show up, to get them excited about it, that is the challenge, and very few people can succeed in that. That's why leagues tend to peter out very quickly. Jim Foose, he knows how to get people in the stands.
And I just want to feed off of that too, because something else that he does, his Tweedcast Truck Series, okay? That series runs on Tuesday, and here's a couple interesting points to that dirt. And of course, our large audience here. There's no prize, okay? There's no prize. There's no broadcast. But somehow he still pulls off a 20, 25, 30 truck field week to week with drivers who've sustained the whole season and actually has enough drivers to have a competitive playoff, again, with nothing outside of pride on the line. You see so many leagues out here spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on broadcasting and prizes and advertising and getting bigwig drivers in, and they still can't fill the field, and he somehow does it with not even a shoestring budget, with no budget. And I've given him props for the years, so I'm like, how do you get people to care and get so dedicated when there's nothing outside of just having a good time on the other end of the string? But and that's just something you don't see in sim racing too often.
And like I said, I've seen so many leagues come and go so quickly, so many special events that plan on being annual events, just like this one that only make it a few years. So definitely impressive, and whatever magic he's got, he is using it wisely. Now up front, while we've been talking, Kyle Turzak has driven out to about a 9/10 of a second lead, give or take. Nathan Coaster holding on to second place. Steele Lankford challenging for that second place, not able to get around him quite yet. But probably the most separation up front we've seen all night long. The attrition is, as you said, attritioning as we continue through. Joey Burchett still P6. I talked about that number 1. Can he hold on to the top 10? Well, he's on the cusp. He's still P10. Lane Hosler right behind him. Aiden Young P12. But the lights are now fully on. The sun has set. We are racing into the night. And I got to wonder, maybe some of these drivers like the night conditions more than others. We could see even more shuffling as the leader has some lap traffic to contend with. Can't quite make out the number on that. That is the number 24 going high. He got the blue and yellow flag. He knew the drill. Down to the bottom. around that 87. So not a lot of time lost. That is the ideal situation, Corey.
Absolutely. It's something that we have not done in quite some time, and it usually always leads to incident, which we'll hope it does not cause that. Let's do some temporarily loud engines. All right, we are back after those temporarily loud engines. Of course, if you're tuning in late, we are covering the 28th annual All-American 400 here by the American Sim Racing Sanction here. 400 laps. It is myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck. Andre Dirt Rambush here to help out with all of the action. We are not going to tell you how many cautions we've had yet, because that is our fun game to play a little later in the broadcast here. Kyle Tursak, our leader as of this juncture, and Tursak was involved in an incident while leading the race with some lap cars that were parked on the track. The caution was a little delayed and thought that could have been a detriment to his race, but not too much damage. Got it repaired. Caution sequence worked in his favor, and no question now that that car is up and fully repaired.
Yeah, I really think the netcode saved him there, because in all reality that should have been race-ending damage as far as what it looked like on the broadcast, but iRacing Simulator said, no, you're good, no damage, you keep on going. And it seems to be a thing with this car and the SK Modifieds. I've noticed a lot of netcode there. It tends to be generous. I don't know why it's just these short track series. Maybe it's because you see these kinds of impacts more. I don't know. But leading the way, saved by the bell, saved by the netcode. Who knows? 78-41, going to go side by side for position. And as the night goes on, I think that bottom groove getting just a little bit more viable, like I predicted, Corey. The bumps are a little bit less daunting when you've got just that little bit of extra grip. But even still, there is good momentum to be found on the outside. You can see the 41 getting a good run out of the corner, not so much through the center, but getting down to that straightaway. That extra momentum carries him back ahead.
Yeah, we're seeing drivers fight higher and higher up as Burchett got super loose there. Manages to save it. Let's get another perspective of that. And Burchett, I don't know if he was expecting the 78 to wash up the track, because they are fighting higher and higher up the track there, Dirt. Just watch the wheel work, the handwork there. Dead sideways.
Yeah, that was one heck of a save. I cannot believe he was able to keep the handle on that thing, but he did. And a little bit further up the grid here, here's that number 33. This was a driver contending for the race lead earlier in the night. Now he's battling with the 53. A little bit further back and just kind of single file, running their pace, trying to click off some laps. I'd imagine that right about now, with the fatigue's starting to set in, we've had a lot of yellows to kind of throw them for a loop, but now we've been green flag, and, well, never mind.
We don't know if it's his fault, but he has been in probably a third of the cautions tonight. It was not his fault. Let's sort it out. Honecker, that's the 80 car. Or actually, was it his fault? We'll have to get one more perspective of that. It was Anthony Rosselli. Double whammy there. So I think this will cue our blimp cam of necessity here. 80 of Rosselli. Nope, blimp cam won't work. Oh, that's going to be the age-old who came up, who came down.
I'm going to say the 87 came down about 4 lanes.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's my rewinding sound. Where is the point of contact? The point of contact is right here. Do I have a good... Nope, the trees have to be in our way, so I don't really have a good camera angle of it, but... No.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I don't know why you'd come down the straightaway.
This one. This one might do it. Yeah, from that one, the 87.
Yeah.
It wasn't egregious, but it was still enough. Enough to put us in that spot. Trent Smith did get by Oliver Cordell there, and should, I believe, be the free pass recipient here. Is pit road going to be a busy place? Answer is no. We do have Burchett. We do have Travis Wright and Noah Kaufman, a name I don't think we've said this name once today, Derek. And that's, that means A, he hasn't really been up front, but B, he hasn't been the cause of a caution. So I guess it kind of goes both ways.
He hasn't been the cause of caution, but he was the driver that somebody flew over the top of. I believe it was Kyle Goodbout. Flew over his hood on lap 1, and he's been able to continue, but it looks like he's picked up a few battle scars along the way. The front end of that machine, not exactly pristine. And speaking of machines that aren't pristine, that number 2, still a little bit further back, multiple laps down, but had race winning pace early on, just on this never-ending effort to try to recover, regroup, gain some positions back, but it's a tall order.
And with these short track races, you just can't write them off. I mean, 5 laps down, that's a little more than usual to kind of expect to get back on the lead lap. But, we've seen Stranger Things, which I think is some kind of a Netflix special, but I don't watch TV, so if it is, I don't have a joke to reference to it. But Kyle Tursak, who seems like the race is back in his grasp, but just as we've seen earlier, that can change in an instant in the restart box. Brandon Wilkinson to his outside. Good jump by the 15. He'll get the lead by multiple car lengths, and then the battle will go on afterwards.
Yeah, they're going to be single file for the top 3, but then back in 4th place, that number 37, Chase Pierce, Nathan Coaster. Nathan was 2nd place when that yellow came out, I believe. Could be wrong, but now he is fighting with that number 22. That is going to be for P5. Winston Deal kind of caught out on that caution that came out during the pit sequence. Didn't go a lap down, but he didn't lose a lot of track position, so now he is just trying to get on the recovery tour, pick up a few positions here or there. That is what he's doing.
Indeed the case here, was exiting the pits. That is a 3 of Trent Smith, 2 laps down. We do have 3 drivers who are 1 lap down. That is Oliver Cordell, again led laps, as well as Carson Lucas there, the Dale Jr.-esque paint scheme there, that number 88, at least it looks like that is. And Ryan Strunk, who has had a interesting day as well in the 67. That is all the lucky dog, the free pass fight there, so that is going to be worth keeping an eye on if some more cautions come our way. 37 car of Chase Pierce to the inside of Steele Langford. That's off turn number 2, now into 3. So side by side, and you can just see the run from the top dirt is starting to be more and more prominent. I think the rubber, the heat on the inside, again, the bumps on the inside, that outside, starting to be more and more advantageous.
Well, and as these tires wear, and we're getting a lot more green flag laps on this set of tires than the first one, as these tires wear, to even get the car down to the bottom, you're going to have to lift more and more and sacrifice more speed. So it kind of loses viability as the stint progresses, and that high lane comes into a life of its own. You don't got to lift as much, you carry more speed, and you can make a lot of good moves up there. So, early in the stint, bottom groove's the way to go, especially at night. But now we're a little further in. I mean, a lot of these guys took tires about lap 140, give or take. So 60 laps on a set of tires with some caution sprinkled about. They're not dead, they're not worn out completely, but they're at a point where they're starting to feel it, Mr. Krabs.
They are starting to feel it. Indeed, here 60 laps in, we now know that the fuel load is at maximum around 130 laps. That was with a whole bunch of cautions to boot, so with less cautions, we may be looking at maybe 110, 115 laps. So that would put us maybe around lap 260, as we have just crossed the halfway point here of the 28th annual Online All-American 400. Of course, if this was the real world race, we'd already be 2/3 of the way through, but we got that extra 100 laps in here. We don't have that problem with budgets and tire sets and real world race fuel to deal with, so we can run that full duration. But Kyle Tursak is going to lead and evade a wreck on the backstretch. Ethan Johnson did save it, and that he saved it well enough that we will stay green.
So I think Kyle Turzak might have been eating peanuts before the race under the grandstands, or maybe somebody paid him with a $50 bill, because he is absolutely cursed. Every time he comes up on lap cars as the leader, something happens that he's got to avoid. That is now twice in this race. That one was a little easier to avoid, but still, even if they're a few lanes down, Corey, you know as well as anybody, you see somebody spinning out in front of you as the leader. It doesn't matter if they're not in your lane. You're worried they're going to come back up into your lane. It is a scary situation.
Yeah, this place not as dangerous as a Bristol or a Dover, but it's not too far off of it because there's not really any runoff from here. You have maybe an extra lane on the straightaways. These corners are, as we like to say, self-cleaning because they are so highly banked, but especially once you get to the front stretch here, again, very narrow, so not a lot of room to evade. Of course, in the real world, SMI, Speedway Motorsports Inc., the owners of Bristol Motor Speedway, putting a lot of legislative work in here to try to get this fairgrounds track back up to modern snuff, maybe even on the NASCAR top-tier schedule. Doing a lot of fighting with that soccer stadium that is built literally on the other edge of the property here, but I think last I heard, they are on the winning edge of that battle, and having this place dolled up, repaved, modernized for a top-tier schedule may not be in the ultra-distant future.
And that, of course, on the sim side of things would mean that iRacing has to do another scan. And this race could look very different in the coming years. I mean, this place, I would imagine, I mean, again, you would know better than I do because you have some experience back when this place was smooth and fresh. But I would imagine you give this place a fresh pave over and a new coat of paint, and they're going to be flying around this place at some ludicrous speed with all this banking, these longer straightaways. It'll be crazy.
Now, mind you, back in NASCAR racing, 1999 and NASCAR, I don't think they even had the technology to model bumps back then, so even if it was bumpy, they couldn't do it. But you look at North Wilkesboro, I think that place, someone would have to status check me on that, but what they were running for lap times of the 2023 revival until the repaving, what was it, last year. They gained multiple seconds there. This place, it would be lightning quick. They might even be talking about putting a tapered spacer on here or something to slow these things down. I know Rockingham, they can't run that anymore in the late models because it's just too fast on the new pavement. So they might actually, this place might turn into a pseudo super speedway for these late models, but that's all distant talk for now. But again, what is here today is the race indeed, as we are halfway through. Kyle Tursak up by a second, and let's just bring up the lap times on the left side of our display. And last time by, Chase Pierce a skosh faster, a skosh being 0.03 of a second, and then we'll go back to Winston Deal. Two of them, you may as well consider that bump drafting as close as they are, but never mind that. Now he's going for the Ricky Bobby switch.
WD's looking good. I tell you, maybe he doesn't quite have the outright pace that Kyle Turzak has, but he has made really smart moves. He's had really good pace. And even though he kind of had that bit of a setback with that yellow flag, he didn't let it get to him. I mean, he regrouped. He's looking in good form. I think, if he can reel in Kyle a little bit here, and he did run a faster lap than Kyle last time around, that could be a really good battle. That 22 looking good. That 15 has been class in the field. A lot of talent here in this race. But just a quick weather update. Track temp starting to go back down. It was 79 last time we looked, now down to 77. So still warmer than we started, but trending in the downward position.
Trending down indeed, and it'll only go further down here. But as Kenny Chesney likes to say, some things get hotter when the sun goes down, and the action will probably follow suit. Again, we do have the prizes at hand here. $270 going to the winner here. And Kyle Tursak, don't start spending it too early, because talk to Denny Hamlin what it feels like to dominate a race and have it go astray in the final ending of it. So I never know what'll happen here, but Tursak certainly looking to be advantageous right now. Burchett and Lane Hostler here, Lane Hostler and Noah Kaufman there, 07. Some front end damage there. Travis Wright in arrears. I was going to say he's been involved in something, but I think it'd be easier at this point there to see who hasn't been in something rather than saying who has.
I think you're exactly right there. It's been an eventful night, and when these guys get sideways, when they spin out, there's not really always a good way to get around it. Case in point, Oliver Cordell led 41 laps. That's nothing to sneeze at, but unfortunately getting caught out by that caution at the wrong time. He's still a lap down, I believe. He is in the lucky dog position, but he would need another yellow.
Yep, needs another yellow, which may or may not come at, well, it'll come at this point. I will offer some ludicrous prize that I won't fulfill if this race actually went green for the next 178 laps. To do that quick math there. Then did that quick math so you didn't have to, the old Bill Weber line. And not a lot of people realize this, but Bill Weber actually did pass away in late 2024. Somehow or another, I know this is a complete digression, but it's all NASCAR related, which is related to ASR as a sanction. Somehow we didn't find out until about 3 or 4 months later that he passed away. So not even too old there. Of course, commentated the Cup Series there, but always those fun little adages that I like to remember. I did the math, so you don't have to.
Yeah, Bill Weber, he really went off the radar a little bit after his commentator career. He was working as a magician in Las Vegas. Yes, I swear on my life, he was working as a magician. He was doing it part-time when he became a commentator. And then after he retired from that, he went full-time. He was apparently pretty talented at it, and that's what he was doing right up until he passed away. So interesting guy, and interesting legacy for sure.
The last photo of him, he had definitely gained some waist there, to say it nicely, and because people didn't even recognize him anymore. But that's what happens post-career. Sometimes people... you have Carl Edwards, people who garner a whole new life, and other people don't. But either way, a big digression there. But again, sometimes you have to have a little filler talk there. But more on track. Again, we've already mentioned a few times that I always want to support what needs to be supported. Again, Speedway Action Images. Check out the high-quality photography. You can buy it right there off of the website if you take to any of the Ohio-based short tracks. I know Jim looking forward to headed to the Mansfield Speedway, of course, which Matt Tift is putting some significant efforts into bringing back to life, and I know, Dirt, that's probably on your bucket list, I'd have to imagine, and hopefully on iRacing's as well.
Yeah, you would hope. You would definitely hope. Here's a good battle right here. The 37, the 56, these two. This is going to be third and fourth. Chase Pierce has had really good momentum. Maybe not race-winning pace, but definitely podium pace, and Brandon Wilkinson, he's been on the cusp the entire night as well. He's just kind of been riding around inside the top 5. He was second for a little while. Haven't really seen him go any lower than 6th, so still really great night, and he only had to do it for, about 131 more laps as we're just past the halfway mark here, and he's still holding that momentum. But that 10 car, he's been involved in a couple incidents, maybe not as bad as the car behind him, who had somebody fly over his hood. But continuing on, Travis Wright, 44 years young, and looking the sim like a pro here up inside the top 10, I believe. Where is he? He's actually 14th, a little bit further back. But in a field like this, anytime you're not part of that group further back that's, on pit road getting the car fixed, you're having a good night.
Exactly, it is 44, one of the elder statesmen here of this race. There's a lot of teenagers, but even though there's a lot of teenagers, they have been, for the most part, pretty good here. And look at how high these guys are running. This is, again, that battle, 5th, 6th, 7th right now. And speaking of battling, I mean, we're watching this, but look at the ticker there, Dirt. Look at the lap different. Look at the gap differential, first to second. Tursak's lead is gone. Winston Deal, WD, he is going for it here, and only 2/10 back, and a little bit of lap traffic, a lot of bit of lap traffic in the near future. There's Keteman, who I think any chance of his race turning around is basically in the garbage bin.
Yeah, laps are winding by, and he's not really making up time. He's only losing more time, unfortunately. But yeah, what did I say? WD is looking real good in that 22, and he has reeled him in 0.2 of a second. He's pretty much at the tow hitch. Question is, did he burn up his tires trying to get there? Or maybe, did Kyle Turzak burn up his tires? That's how WD caught him. Either way, no matter what is going on behind the wheel of those cars, what we have is a bumper-to-bumper battle. Lap car number 2 into the wall again, right in front of the 15. Who put the curse on this guy? Who paid him with a 50?
And apparently there's not change to be made, but now we're getting the harder part, trying to get by, and Tursak running those defensive lanes. The high lane certainly is the harder one to, it's the easier one to play defense on. The inside harder to pass all by your lonesome here, but he's going to have to find a way to do it. It is the 22 as we reach the back end of the run. You can see 5 laps in the bank for Winston Deal. I don't know if that's a tire advantage or if that's just a fuel/damage repair situation. But either way, a slight pit stop benefit to the 22. And given what we know, 95 laps in, we got about 20-25 laps. We may be heading to pit road for green flaggers.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have any chaos like we had earlier with those green flag stops. Drivers getting stuck a lap down, and I don't know, this pit road is so tough. Like we pointed out earlier, the entry, not only is it a very narrow entry, but you got stalls that are right on the entry. These two, how about it?
Pierce,
them battling.
Pierce is coming.
Chase Pierce.
Now the airstrike recipient, which I believe is the 07, who is the one in the middle there, Noah Kaufman. He is now the first one lap down, and that is an interesting point because if a caution comes out, Cordell, again, he led 40 some odd laps. Now he's stuck. He's the second car 1 lap down. He is in turn 1. Kaufman is middle of the backstretch. So now if Cordell wants to get on the lead lap, he's going to have to gain a quarter of a lap to Kaufman, and that is not an easy feat. So, and that's just the difficult part where you're waiting for that free pass. Sometimes you get it at the snap of your fingers, and other times you don't get it at all. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, we've seen good luck, we've seen bad luck, everything in between so far tonight. As this battle continues, I think Winston's a little bit quicker, but not quite able to find the place to make the move. I'm sorry, is he driving a Pontiac? Is that the badging?
Oh, these are generic cars, so there's
I know, but I'm trying to figure
that's a Corvette.
No, that's a Chevy. It's a Corvette. Couldn't quite make out the logo, but these are generic bodies. You can make whatever badging you want. He's got a Corvette, and it's a good-looking Corvette. As into the wall goes the 15,
Whoa.
scuffs momentum,
Looking
and
high.
that is going to give him an opportunity. Not quite able to get there, but this isn't over yet, Corey.
In the words of Chris Daughtry, it's not over. He's trying to do it right this time around here. Coming off of 2 down the back, didn't get the run he may have desired. But through 3 and 4, he seems to have the magic touch here. Goes high, doing that diamond line, and well, Tursak had enough this time around to maintain, but it looks as though on entry through 1, that's the secret sauce for Deal. But now a half second back, Chase Deal, he is ready to party as well. And let's just take a look at one more thing here. Let's use Chase Pierce as our reference. The best lap of the race down in the 17s now. I think Kyle Tursak has it at a 65, but we are 0.6 off our best lap. So again, maybe an early pit stop could lead to an advantage, but look at Deal trying to make the high side work for a pass. That would be a first on the evening.
He is trying. He is doing everything he can to make that high line get a little bit of extra momentum. And these late models are just a little wide. It can be really difficult to get around. And when you're this close in pace, I mean, that 15 is fast. He may have burned his tires up a little bit. Maybe WD is a little bit quicker right now, but being a little bit quicker is not enough. You got to be quick enough to make the move. And so far, it has not happened, but a big lunge. And look at that. There's the 37. Player 3 has entered the game. We now have a 3-car battle for the lead. What a night this has been. And this is going to increase the pressure on that 22 because he's been riding behind the leader, trying to get around him. And now he's out of time. If he doesn't get around the leader, that 37 may well start battling with him. It would slow them both down and allow that 15 to drive off into the moon set, I guess, because we're at night. But either way, we let the 15 drive away, and he does not want that. So he's going to get pressure to make this move quick.
Well, unfortunately, it can't be a moon set because iRacing still has a model of moon, #soon. But one thing that is #soon is lap traffic, and that is the field here. We'll just go on board so you can get a good inflection of what's ahead. That is the back end of the field. That's about 8 cars directly in front of our race leaders. And as I could not enunciate earlier, traffic giveth and traffic taketh. And sometimes you can go basketball style and set a pick there, get your competitor stuck behind a lap car, and then use the other lane to your advantage. But right now, as you were saying, Deal, he's got a damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, because he may make a move, and if it doesn't work, he may lose second in the process.
Yeah, as soon as that 37 caught up, the entire game changed. And the look of this battle has changed. On the number 10 lap car, kind of the worst case scenario for these leaders. He's pretty quick. You know, it's nice when the lap cars are a little bit slower, but he is almost on pace, and that's going to make getting around him a little bit more difficult. And the number 22 able to stay to the inside, almost used him as a pick, was unable to. Now the 10's going to stick to the high lane. They should get around him no problem, but that did shake up the battle a little bit. And look at that corner entry, Corey. I mean, he was 3 car lengths back, and then all of a sudden he dives in, and he just completely closed that up on corner entry alone. But this is a gaggle of cars. There is 3, 4, maybe even 5 lap cars they're going to have to navigate. This is so far from over. And then to even think, we got pit stops on the way. You know, these guys got to be thinking about fuel before too long. So many layers to this.
Absolutely. And just as another reference of that pit stop dilemma, we are, for the most part, 115 laps into the stint, into the sequence. Now, a couple cautions, not as many as on the first sequence, so they won't be able to go probably to lap 130, which they did the first time, maybe 125 at best. But here is the 61 lane Hostler, and all this hurting Oliver Cordell. Now his opportunity to get back on the lead lap is abolished here as each one of these drivers gets in the mix. Looking to the outside again, 22. He has that outside through 3 and 4. Down to a science. Hasn't been able to execute, but he's able to drive to the center dirt, and he's able to hold it and still get the run off. That is very hard to do.
Yeah, he's just not able to get alongside. That's the big issue. I mean, he's so much faster on corner entry, but I think at a racetrack like this, it's going to be about exit speed, getting alongside, kind of setting him up, knocking him down, and unfortunately for Winston, that is what Kyle's been really good at, that exit speed. So we're riding on board with the number 80, Anthony Roselli. He is going another lap down. He is currently down 7 as they close in through the corner. Another one ahead of him as well. Oh boy.
Tursak moves off the corner into the concrete. No safer barriers to be had here at the fairgrounds. That'll be a tight exit for Tursak, and that'll be a slightly tightened entry as they try to get by the 80 of Roselli. And I think this is Travis Wright. No, it's not. It's a very similar paint scheme to Travis Wright. Who is that? That's the 41. Joey Burchett, our 2017 winner of this race, who I don't know if he's damaged at all, but just doesn't seem to have the magic touch here at the fairgrounds. But he will go high and seemingly out of the way, kissing the concrete, getting to the inside, and as high and into the marbles as he can to get out of the way.
The 22 took a bit of a higher entry. He drove it down the banking. Not able to really take that momentum anywhere, but he's got so much momentum. This 15, I think, is holding up both these drivers behind, but the defensive driving has been unparalleled. I mean, oh, there we go. As I say that, to the outside, the 22 gets a peak, but he's not able to hold it there. He did lift, maybe being a bit generous there, being a bit patient. I think if he'd stayed in it, he might have had something.
Yeah, let's just go on board and stick with it here. How hard he drives to the center, but he's able to get on throttle and really maintain an exit. Typically, when you drive in deep to the center of a corner, you lose the exit, but he's able to kind of do both, which is a rarity. And then Chase Pierce, we don't know. Is he just kind of hanging out? Does he not feel like he has enough in the bank to make something happen? If anything, Chase Pierce, it may be worth it for him as he gets a huge wiggle, maybe to draw first blood dirt. We're 120 laps in, pit stops any time now, really. Maybe Chase Pierce, take that advantage. You'll gain about a second on the lap by pitting early. Maybe draw first blood and try to make something happen. As here comes Deal to the inside. That's going to be close to some contact. Can't quite do it, as I think the 37 kissed the wall too.
22 moving to the low side again. He's going to try the second time, not able to get it, but I think you're exactly right. If you are the 37, might be a good call to get that quick stop in, maybe get on those fresh tires a little bit sooner, jump them on pit road rather than on the track. But at the same time, given how caution-laden this race has been, maybe you don't want to get too early and risk getting trapped a lap down like so many others had been before. This is just 3 cars toe hitch to bumper. Oh, contact. The 37 gets to the low side of the 22. That's going to check both of them up. A little bit of breathing room goes to Kyle Turzak, but just like that, through the center of the corner, that breathing room is going to dissipate. A battle that has been up front, very clean, very respectful, but I think maybe the anxiety is starting to show.
That's Steele Langford and Nathan Coaster a little bit further back, 6th and 7th, and we're pushing real estate here that I've never seen used here in our 3 years, and some of the other races we've covered here at the fairgrounds. We're seeing competitive racing all the way up into the 3rd lane here, as these drivers are going to use that dynamic track surface and finding that grip, cleaning off them marbles, because talked about it earlier and we'll have to talk about it again. Again, you can see here, look at this shot, all of the marbles here at the fairgrounds on this track. That loses grip, that causes you to slide. And as we start having pit stops, I thought I just saw one in there. You're going to get those marbles on the tires as you're trying to slow down, could cause mistakes.
And down pit road, quite a few takers. The 07 going to get his car service. Track stand goes up. And that just only increases the question, when do the leaders come down pit road? Are they going to be holdouts? Do they not want to get trapped a lap down? Do they feel like they're far enough ahead they can afford to take the overcut? Or are they just waiting to see what the next guy does? Maybe they don't really have a game plan, Corey. They're just looking at each other saying, hey, when are you going to go down pit road?
And that's just the thing right here, as we said up front. Who wants to draw first blood? There's enough time to be gained here. We're down about 6-7 tenths of a second here with the fall off as this track cools off even further. We're down, actually no, the track temp's gone up. It was 77, now we're at 78. So we're putting more temp in it here. Noah Kaufman extended pit stop for that 07 car. Again, he had some significant damage earlier in the race. So we'll see what happens there. And again, if we do want to give a shout out here, our cameras are provided by Whiplash SimCam, so if you do like some of the angles that we see, check them out on Facebook here. Again, I did a great job, Andrew Cardinale there, with some of the action that we have. Another battle here, 72, Blade and Edwards, Braxton DeWeese. That's a top 10 battle, but again, the money shot here is the podium. These drivers are close enough to be, again, considered almost bump drafted here, inches separating.
And it's been that way for so many laps now. This has been, I don't know the exact lap count.
Turzak pitting.
The green flag run we've had all night, and our race leaders finally had enough. He said, all right, I think I've got faith. The caution's not going to come out. So we're going to head down pit road, see what we can do with this thing, and get some fresh tires, get some fuel. And that is going to be their second stop, their second set of tires here on lap 280. Corey, they're going to have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to when they take that last set of tires. With how the cautions have played out, they've really stretched these runs longer, and it's looking like that fourth set of tires might just be a luxury set.
Yeah, or as we like to call it, a strategy set, luxury set. You know, it could just be something you don't actually need. We always talk about the point of no return here on these shorter tracks where it takes a fair amount of time to be able to get the good out of those, what I believe to be Hoosier tires, not Goodyears, Hoosier tires. So if you pit too late, not enough time, not enough tire fall off to make it happen. So certainly, yeah, I don't know when you put them on. We do only have 10 cars on the lead lap, maybe 12, 13 after the cycle. So decisions to be had as the longest green flag run of the night and probably of our PTR TV coverage of this event. But the top two staying out, again, they must be afraid of what we've talked about of the pit stops to be had and the cautions that may come out. Oliver Cordell, he made his pit stop and he is flying by on those fresh tires, trying to get as many laps back as possible.
Yeah, so he was 4 laps down. This will put him 3, which is about accurate for his pit stop. No issues must have been, but 78 machine down pit road. This might be the only time all night he doesn't have anybody next to him.
Look at the marbles, Dirt. Look at the marbles even in the pits. Those fresh tires are already dirty.
That's going to be, they got to remember, cold tires are cold. You do not want to go out there in the marbles with cold tires and make any mistakes.
Well,
but I'm really impressed with Chase Pierce because I thought the only reason Chase got up to Winston was because the 15 was holding him up. And now that they are free of Winston and they've got open road ahead of them, Pierce is staying with WD. I mean, he is right there running the same pace, looking really impressive. This is going to be a great battle. And the more interesting thing will be, where does the 15 cycle out? Having got those tires a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner. There he is right there, about 2 laps down, I believe. And if he gets to the leaders, he'll put himself 1 lap down.
And that's directly in front of him.
By Corey. Yep, there they are, right in front. Every lap that goes by Corey, he is gaining immense time.
Yeah, he's gaining his last time by. Let's just bring up the telemetry. His last time around, 17.7. Here comes Winston, or WD, coming in. I saw him wiggle. I don't know if he'd actually hit the tire wall, the concrete there. May have. It's pretty close. I'll just get a little brief inkling of that because he certainly had a little bit of a interesting corner pit stop entry here. Pulling down into those marbles. Oh, it's so close. Didn't quite hit it, but missed it by a whisker.
Yeah, and he did lose a little bit of time there. He kind of gave it a panic lift. But the jack stand goes up. Here comes the 37 just 1 lap later. The call had been made. When the 22 came down pit road, he said, I got to get down there too. So there's the 15. Where is he going to cycle out? He should be, by my math, way ahead of these guys.
It's an 8 right now.
He's an 8th, but as far as the competition that he was racing before, that 22 machine and some of them other drivers, he is ahead of them by quite a bit. The problem now is he's on 9 lap older tires than WD. He's going to have to hope that big lead he built up is going to hold because WD and the 37 machine, Chase Pierce, they're going to be closing in. They're going to be reeling him in big time.
And one thing to note here, Dirt, is while the leaders made it through the cycle alive, we're not done through the cycle. Look at the graphic here. We have Strunk, we have Aiden Young. Well, Aiden Young in the pits right now, but Bladen Edwards, top 4 really, can go another 30, 35 laps. And telemetry-wise, they would still be catching a lot of these drivers 1 lap down. So right now, Tursak in that ideal spot. He is 1 lap down with the free pass in tow, but let's look at the driver directly behind him on the racetrack. That is Chase Pierce, and he is 5 seconds behind Tursak. Are those 10 laps that Tursak pitted earlier, are they going to be able to come back around and amount to 5 seconds on the racetrack? That we don't know.
Well, late in the run, I think they definitely could. Right now, everybody's still going to be pretty equal on pace, whether the laps are whether the tires are brand new or 10 laps old, but as the run persists, the number 15 is going to feel more and more of that effect. And also, some of these drivers are incredible holdouts. Bladen Edwards, Joey Burchett, Lane Hosler, Travis Wright. These drivers waiting as long as possible to come down pit road nearly to lap 300. They're going to be on the best tires out of anybody, but they will be way far back, sacrificing time, staying out as long as they have. tell you what, it's going to be an interesting last 100 laps. If we don't get any yellows here, it is going to be really fun to watch this play out organically. There is that 117. His tires are pretty ancient compared to everybody else. He was one of the first takers in this stint. I'll tell you, I'm surprised, Corey. I don't want to put the commentator's curse on it, but we've been green for a very long time.
Now, Tursak, he's obviously a smart fellow there, so I imagine he made all considerations at play with his stop. 17 laps in, so that means he has to go, this is math, 103 plus 17. He has to go 120 to the end, so that's certainly doable. We've seen, I think, 135 be the max, but that's 120 under green. So I imagine, I don't want to, create drama that doesn't exist, but I imagine he's done the homework to know that he can do 120 under green. So try to take advantage of that. Chase Pierce, again, we checked a little bit ago. He was 4.5 back behind. Actually, now there's somebody in the mix now. Winston Deal has got by. And that is, they've already eaten up about 8 or 9 tenths into Tursak's gap. So that could be those 10-lap fresher tires. That could be the fact that those cars are just flat out faster right now.
Could be. They might just be flat out faster. And if that's the case, that'll be fun to watch play out. But Clayton Edwards is still leading the way, refusing to come down pit road. And, for him, that is definitely going to be a luxury set of tires. As we are under triple digits to go now. 301 out of 400 laps completed. Is that number 1 diving down? I think he's going to be coming down pit road. Get that car serviced. There's the 41. He finally gives. And then there were 3, Corey.
Exactly that. Bladen Edwards, Travis Wright, Lane Haas are hoping for the Hail Mary caution, but doesn't seem to be the case here, as Joey, I think, was doing interesting things again, Dirt.
Oh boy.
I saw a negative number on my speed chart, and when a negative number usually means backwards.
Oh yeah. No, that's...
He doesn't have the excuse of the corner that time either.
No, that was... I mean, I guess he's kind of got the excuse that with those cars there, maybe he didn't see it, but he didn't just miss the stall, he blew by it.
And he's exiting the pits now. So while we will keep this battle on the screen, we will keep the live telemetry on the screen, but we are going to do our one and only, most likely, commercial break here of the race. We'll be back with you in about 5 laps. Stay with us. You won't miss a thing. Welcome back here to PTR TV again for today's coverage of the 28th Annual All-American 400 here from the Nashville Fairground Speedway. Corey Silva in the booth and in the truck, along with Andre Dirt Grambush here to help out with the calls. And this has been the battle that is not the battle for the win, but it's probably the biggest battle that we are watching right now. And it is between WD, Winston Deal, and Chase Pierce. Chase Pierce had the long run pace last run. Pit stops kind of got in the way of that. It seems like Deal has the short run speed all the while. They are trying to close in on Kyle Tursak. All the while, we still have the top two awaiting their final pit stop. And Lane Hostler as well. He is also awaiting the final pit stop, even though he has been surpassed by Tursak.
I think somebody after the race needs to take Bladen Edwards' car to R&D and see how long the fuel line is. See if maybe that fuel line's holding a few extra gallons rolled up inside the roll cage. I don't know. He's really been stretching it. So is Travis Wright, and those two just trying to drive away with it. But going back to that battle, the 37 and the 22, the reason that's important is because when this all shakes out, Wayne Hostler, he's going to still have to pit. So he'll drop down the running order. Bladen Edwards, Travis Wright, they've got to pit. It'll be Kyle Tursak in the lead. It'll be Chase Pierce and Winston, if I could speak for a minute, Dio, running him down. And they're going to be on 10-lap fresher tires. So by all rights, you should expect to see them reeling the leader in on the long run. When this thing gets down to it towards the end of this race, these two should be a little bit quicker. The battle is for who's going to be the car ahead when they reel them in. This may very well be a battle for the lead, although they are not in the lead right now. It is very important. And Winston, he's been very patient. I think he's a little bit quicker right now. He's got such good center speed, such good entry speed. He's able to get alongside, but then he just barely loses it on the straightaway. And with only 80 laps left, gotta wonder how long that patience holds out. But either way, big battle, big moves, and a very long green flag run to make things fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to my back-end telemetry. I don't remember the exact last lap of caution, but I do know it was a long time ago, at least 150 laps. Let me see here. We last had a 1 to green at 190, so have we gone green about 140 laps? I know commentators curse. The last thing I should be doing is saying that out loud, but I just did, so can't yell at me either way. But Kyle Tursak up to second now, and he has gotten...
Well. How the turns tables.
Wow. Let's try to find the cause of this one. I don't have... Again, this might be one that I don't have anything blatantly obvious to search for. I'm going to cut back to live footage as I try to find a cause for this one. But Lane Hostler going to be in a really good spot here, but here comes Tursak in it. You talked about having an extra set of tires on the wall. Well, do you want to use it now? I feel like you don't have a choice.
Yeah, with only 77, 78 laps remaining, and with how many green flag laps we've had, you kind of expect that maybe we get another green flag run. Might be your last chance to take tires. And even if it's not, for the number 15 at least, it has been quite some time. Not a full stint by any means, but it has been a while, and you got to take those tires. But give me a lot of drivers staying out to take a wave around that will track a lap down, and some drivers staying out in general. So running order completely shaken up. Bladen Edwards played the long game, Corey, and I would say maybe 1 in 100 times I see that long game actually work. This is that 1 in 100.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go back and find some kind of inkling to what the caution was, but this is a replay of sorts that happened around the time of caution. Oh, what was that I just stumbled across? But I'm trying to find something, because again, I don't like to just say it was a debris caution, because it wasn't. But again, nothing just immediately struck out to me, which it usually does. This is kind of why, I wish that we had, here we go, found it. This is why you never give up, folks. Rick Astley, never give up, never let down. 33.78.
Oh.
I would throw that loosely, very loosely, Dirt, into the sissy caution situation. Barney might have just been a little bored up there on the stand.
Yeah, I can't say I understand why that was I mean, I do.
Yeah, that's the 45 degree, yeah.
45 degrees, he was on the racing surface, but like, still, it's a shame we had such a good run going. And now, you know, I said maybe we get another green flag run, Corey, but these guys have less than 100 to go. They've got fresh tires, and there is, you know, a lot of money on the line. So historical precedent tells me things are going to get crazy.
All right, so who is stopped right in the middle of the racetrack? Tyler Muller. Now, it could have been a scoring thing, but if you need to, you know, comply to scoring things, there are far better places to park than in the middle of the racing line.
Yeah, that was a little odd. It's just a little strange.
But right now, again, because of the myriad of wave arounds and the myriad of wave arounds to be had, our leader is Bladen Edwards. Again, give him a Powerball ticket because everything worked in his favor here. We are still under caution. I think the one to go has been alleviated here. All the drivers you can see ahead of him right now, these are all what will be wave arounds. Every driver ahead of him will either, you'll have Braxton Deweese, Aiden Young, John Canizaro, and Nathan Kostler. Yep, there they are getting the queue around. And a couple of drivers who are multiple laps down will gain one of them back. But it will be Bladen Edwards, Kyle Tursak. Interestingly enough, Dirt, while we were watching that replay, everybody took 4 tires except Tursak. Actually, no. Tursak, Pierce, 11 seconds. So we have some 2 tire stops, it appears, up front.
That is interesting. I have no idea what the handling is going to be like on 2 tires, but I would assume going to be a little bit loose. Either way, Bladen Edwards going to lead the way. Green flag is out. Lap 329 out of 400, getting down to the end of it, and they're going to single file out, at least for the most part. Brandon Wilkinson moves up to P4. Winston Deal P5. Let's see what that 15 can do. Does he have anything for race leader Bladen Edwards? He is on the bumper. He's applying the pressure, but can he make the move? So many times we've seen somebody look like they've got the pace to make the pass, and they just never quite bring it to fruition. He gets to the low line. I think he's going to stay to the low line. Didn't quite get clear of him. So it is now a side-by-side battle for the lead. Chase Pierce watching these guys battle, saying, yeah, do more of that, please. That would be a big benefit to him. Still single file, 1 lane up. Well, boy, you would think in a 4th lap race, the battle for the lead would not be so exciting, but for the last 150 laps, it has been up in the air. It has been so tight. Bladen holding that pace. He's not letting that 15 get around him.
Now, Winston Deal, first person on that last caution to put 4 fresh tires on. Now, Bladen Edwards, and now obviously we showed him a couple times, but where did he start here on the day? He started 8th, so not a slouch at all, but I mean, he hasn't been in this position. We haven't really been able to get a full field reset here to know who has what. But right now, Tursak going to the inside, tight quarters racing, scraping the concrete. Is Edwards off of 4? Tursak wants to get by. He doesn't want to have to deal with Chase Pierce and company. Late run, where it seems that 37 has the advantage. Down to the inside is Tursak, trying to make the low side work. And big wiggle there from Bladen.
That was a huge slide. I cannot believe he held on to it. Good piece of driving, but a little bit of contact, and the 15 is going to muscle his way by. To the lead goes Tursak, and now The pressure does not end as he's got 37 right behind as well. Take another look at it. Coming out of turn 4, just a little bit too much beans on the throttle too hard. That's going to get him sideways. That opened up the door, and then down into the corner. The 15 got a little loose himself. I think you can see he was counter steering through a slide, slid up into Bladen, and that actually unintentionally kind of muscled him out of the way perfectly. It was so perfect, I thought it was intentional, but looking at that replay, I think both those drivers were just along for the ride there, Corey.
Now that was really the perfect use of short track racing there, to be able to, those little minor nudges, which are very hard to do in the sim because you don't necessarily know how the physics and the netcode system will process them. Usually at lower speeds you can sort of get away with it, but the perfect little bump, nudge, and run on a short track, but just exactly that. There doesn't matter if it's virtual or in sim. When you nudge someone, the first rule of bumping someone out of the way is you better run.
Yeah, I mean, you got to expect, even if it wasn't intentional, I mean, you drove in a little bit deep and the car got a little bit tight. Doesn't really matter to the guy that you bumped. You know, he has every right to come back up there and do the exact same thing to you. So, you know, you got to get away if you're going to do it. And so far, Terzak, 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second, fluctuating. Not a bad lead. Let's see if he can hold on to it. Now, the 22 not showing the pace that he had earlier. 17.8 for the leaders, 17.7. So about a tenth off. I don't know if it's a difference in tires or maybe just not really getting good track position. Who knows? He's all the way back in P5.
So, I mean, if you think of it this way, the fact that this track temp is cooler and that we're down to 75, so I think we're about break even. But the cooler the track gets, traditionally, the tighter you get. So a lot of times, 2 tires, you know, it essentially loosens the car up 99% of the time. So maybe, just maybe, those 2 tires are actually kind of unlocking some handling now. At those 4 tires, maybe he's just too tight. You know, it's plausible there. Of course, we don't know precisely.
Yeah, we don't know that precisely. And you know what else we don't know precisely, Corey, is how many cautions we've had. We talked a little bit on the back end about when we were going to do the caution guessing game. We said around lap 350. Well, I say close enough. I'm going to put in my bet, Corey. I'm going to say 11.
That's it?
I'm going to say 11. I think we've only had 11.
So, again, put your guess in the chat here. I'm going to be the pessimist here, which is my forte. I'm going to say 16. And if you win, then I'm not going to do anything. I'll just make the fictitious story that I'll give you a prize or a sticker or something. But just put your guess in chat, lap 350. We will put that graphic on the screen here, our Whiplash SimCam's race recap here. But that number may not be over. Dirt says 11, I say 16. We got some guesses in chat, 14, we got 15. Again, I have no way to know, and Dirt will attest to this, until I pull the race recap graphic, nothing that I have available to me will tell me the numbers, so I have no way to cheat. We get some more guesses at 11 right now, so I am the utter pessimist here, as, again, lap 349 on the board.
Yeah, my goal was just to undershoot it. You know, Price is Right rules. You know, closest without going over. You know, I just had to bait you into going over potentially.
So do you want the new car, or do you want the washer dryer set? I know as we get older, sometimes our prize choices change.
I'll take the treadmill.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you know, there's information there. But it's lap 350, so whether it be Richard Dawson, Louis Anderson, or Steve Harvey, survey says 11. So how many people won? Yeah. Dirt on the money, as well as Jim Foose, but I don't know that Jim Foose didn't also have the numbers because he's doing live race control. But Dirt, you've just won yourself a $1 raise on this race payout, which I will actually fulfill that because it's only $1. I can afford it. But either way,
heck yeah.
Thanks for everybody for participating in that. Lap 352. This race could be over in as little as 15 minutes if we continue green. But Bladen Edwards, now, he's not running the pace of our race leader, but he's holding the gap pretty closely, and look at that gaggle ahead that the race leaders will have to work between. These are all the wave arounds as they are pounding the fence,
no.
and we are going around. Or are we? Is that the greatest? Is that the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race award? That may be the Ricky Rudd Save of the Millennia award. This is Steele Langford here. I cut it a little early here, but into the fence. It's going to be in turn 1 here. Oh, holy Toledo.
He did not. Oh my goodness. Wow. What a save.
Now, just watch the hands here of a boss. I mean, mind you, he caused his own fate, but that is Dale Earnhardt 2001 Bud Shootout save. Most people are too young for that, but I will. We have no choice but to offer him the award.
How did you save that car?
Well, I'm just so daggone good.
How did he save that car? Absolutely no idea. I mean, ideally he shouldn't have hit the wall in the first place, but he didn't throw out a late race manipulating caution, which is what we highly appreciate. Because at this point, we've lost track. We have all the telemetry that says who pit, how many times they've been to pit road, but we don't know without memory who has tires and who doesn't. So there could be someone in this race.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, that shakes things up a little bit.
For some reason, these cautions are not blatantly obvious. So, Ryan Cole has been triggered by my system to be of interest. And that was a sissy caution, but it had to come out just because he was technically backwards on the racing track. And the point that I was making before I was rudely interrupted, so there actually are a few drivers that do have a set of tires to play with. Bladen Edwards, he's only pit 3 times. Chase Pierce has only pit 3 times, but Chase Pierce going to go on the raceway, stay on the raceway, but Tursack choosing to pit. We have 12 drivers on the lead lap, and I'd say it's hard to tell of all the lead lap drivers. I think about 5 of them pit. Tursack putting right sides on, which I didn't think he had tires left, but obviously I've been proven wrong. He put 2 right sides on.
Interesting to see.
So maybe he took fuel only on the last stop. Remember, it was 11 seconds. Maybe it was just fuel only.
That could be the case. I mean, he had a lot of pace. If that was the situation, it was fuel only. He was still looking really good on those tires, but tell you what, Bladen Edwards, he's got about 39 laps to close it out.
He's only going back to 4th. Tursack on fresh, he's in 4th. All right, okay, I hear you, I see you.
Well, that is, if we don't get another yellow, that might be all she wrote. That might be the 15 driving away.
Someone planning their trip to Walmart, Target, or Best Buy? Or, I mean, you never know. He could be, maybe he's going to Five Guys. Maybe he's going to Cheesecake Factory. Maybe he's going to save it. Maybe he's going to invest it. Bitcoin has just crashed. Maybe this is the best time to put some investing in. Who knows what it'll do. Again, the $720 prize, 270 of it going to our race winner.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to Five Guys, that 270 might give him some fries. Maybe. If he doesn't ask for ketchup, he could probably get some fries.
I mean, where I can't remember where he's from in the. It was on one of our graphics here. It's not on this graphic, but I don't remember where he's from. We did know that prior, but I know a lot of people here from Ohio. Well, we had 1 Czech Republic. We did have a Canadian here in the field, so even though this is the All-American 400, we've spanned all of North America and then some for some of the drivers looking to get the prize here. Edwards in Pierce front row. Edwards had some pace. He held on, but that 37 has just been waiting to get the clean air. And look at Tursack already He's going for the lead 1 lap into this deal.
Yeah, that didn't take long. That took 0 time. So he is going to maybe get to the inside here. Good run out of the corner. Yep, there it is to the bottom. He's going to wrap that yellow line. I don't think there's going to be a lot that Bladen Edwards can really do. His older tires. Look at this. 3 wide for the lead. Contact. The 15 shoots the middle, able to get to the solo lead. But the 37, contact with Bladen Edwards. These two are not done. Oh my goodness. What an eventful opening lap to this green flag run that we have had. 37 trying to hold that low line. Here's the 22. He was out of the picture earlier. We got a wreck in the back. That may be a yellow. There it is.
That is Nathan Hoster there. Now, this is interesting because there are still some drivers in the top 10 that have tires on the wall. Oh, so the 56 wiggled, and that caused a checkup situation, it appeared. 56 wiggled, backs up, and then that checkup. The 10 with just a little skosh of contact, and that's all it takes sometimes. Can't react to that. I mean, at the end of the day, I know admin has to play fault. If anything, I'd put fault to the guy who got loose, because I can't really put fault on those who had to react to it. But Wilkinson into the pits. He was in the top 5. Interestingly, Chase Pierce, I think he realized what was at play there. All right, 30 laps to go. Tursak took the lead in 1 lap. So now Chase Pierce, where is he going to shake out? Probably 7th, 10th, ooh, 9th, yeah. Tursak started 4th. So now Chase Pierce is going to have to go 9th. Deal and Edwards just going to have to deal, no pun, with what they got.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one to call. I mean, obviously, Tursak, I think, has a huge advantage. He's got brand new tires. He's got the best track position, being the lead car. But we do know that, I don't think it'll be long before Chase Pierce is able to, with Brandon Wilkinson as well, able to work his way through the field. These tires make a huge difference, over a second per lap, which is quite a big deal. But they're going to have to get through that traffic, get to the leader, and then make the move, all within a matter of about 30 laps, which is going to be a very, very tall order. Don't know if they're going to be able to fulfill that one, but we'll have to wait and see. Pace truck going to be pulling off, I believe. Nope. He's going to stay out one more time. So these drivers have just a little bit longer to think about this and worry.
And of course, going back, what is now about probably hour and a half, hour 45 minutes ago, that number 15 was in a huge wreck off of turn number 2 with some lap cars. Didn't get race-ending damage, got it repaired, drove back through the field, and so far has, I don't want to say been the man to beat, but he's led the most laps. Let's just get a statistic of such. How many laps has he led at this juncture? He's led 198, so that's essentially half the race. And now, probably in the best spot. Deal, let's see what he can do from the inside of row number 2. Edwards to the outside, restart box. Barney letting them go. 72 will pull right back into line. Deal will clear for 2nd. Now, what can Tursak do, and how fast can the 37 get through the field?
Well, if he's caught in a gaggle like this, not very fast. I think the 56 has a better position down on the low side. A little bit of contact with the 53, that's going to help him move up the running order. But the 37, not quite so lucky. He was stuck on the high line for about a lap. That kind of stalled him out a little bit there, but single file up front, big advantage to the number 15. Bladen Edwards now going to have to fight for that 2nd place, because there is the 22, WD. And never mind, no fight to be had.
27 around, and that is Ethan Johnson. This may be his last caution, because I believe he did have an issue by his lonesome a little while ago, but that's up for, oh no, 117. That was our Oliver. Remember, he led laps. He took advantage of strategy until it did not go his way. It looks like he got turned by somebody. On my camera keeps changing here.
He might have been the 33 stealing from
88 of Carson Lucas, I believe that is. Yes, it is. 88 went around, and then somehow the 27 found himself sideways in that.
I think that's the one I seen Steele involved in.
Now, how did he go by himself here is my question. But maybe he just, well, I think it might have been the marbles. He had the left sides and the marbles on the apron.
I apologize. I have wrongfully accused Steele. That, that falls on me. That's why you can't trust eyewitness reports in the courtroom, because, people like me exist to screw everything up.
Yeah, when it's based on memory, I mean, I'm not much better here, so. But that'll be 25 laps to go. Of course, that will be not much time at all, less than 10 minutes of racing. And if we do need to extend the race, we will have one attempt at green-white checker. I won't call it overtime. Your Discord picture, Dirt, is of Mark Martin, and we know Mark Martin's opinion of overtime, because that doesn't exist. It's just a green-white checker. Because overtime means that it was tied, and you needed more time to figure it out. And of course, when a caution comes out at the end of a race, except in infinitesimally small chances, it's never tied. Someone's always ahead and then loses their lead, but that is a significant podcast topic, which, if you want to listen to a playoff debate, you can find a podcast. We haven't started ours here yet, but hashtag soon.
Yeah, maybe it's time we do that. Maybe we could even, get Kenny Wallace on there. I'm sure he's got a lot of thoughts.
Oh, God. I loved Kenny Wallace, and I love him as a person, but my God, his take on things. But, he does it for clickbait. He does it for revenue. He's admitted it. And, that's just the world we live in with rage baiters. Fortunately, I'm not one of them, though.
No. We don't say rage baiting in this house. We say trolling. It is just trolling. That's all it ever was. Rage baiting is fancy newspeak, and I refuse. What I do not refuse to do, though, is say that number 15 has taken the lead again. Braden Edwards was about to be overtaken by the 22, but he was saved by that caution. He's got a second chance to maybe hold on to it this time. There is that number 1, the number 10, and more importantly, here comes that 37, and the other driver that took tires, the number 56. They are both rocketing their way up through the field, closing in on our race leader. This could be big. They've got a little bit of time. 23 laps remaining, 22 when they cross the line. Oh boy, those fresh tires really helping them out. I think they're going to get around the 22 in this corner. And they got to deal with Braden Edwards up ahead, who's been really good defensively, but less than a second between the top 5 so far. A few of these guys on new tires. And there we go. The 37 is going to get cleared. So it is a straight shot to Bladen and the race leader if they can get around him. But only 21 or 20 and a half laps remaining to work our way through 3 and 4.
And of course, with every position that you gain, it's pride, it's all of that fun stuff, but it's also more money in your pocket. Of course, the winner gets the lion's share of the prize, but every position will give you more and more money in your pocket. So that just gives you motivation if you're Chase Pierce to try to get third, try to get second. And if you can get third and second, maybe a late race restart is what you need to get a chance at Tursac, as they will push each other up the track. 56 into the 72, Edwards up the track, and that may be a Bob's Your Uncle 2 for 1 for Chase Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce can make this low line work. They're on fresh tires, so the bottom is going to be as good as it gets right now. If they were a little bit further into this run, I'd say the 37 is not at an advantage on the low side. But there he goes. He gets clear, but it's going to be a switchback. The 56, Brandon Wilkinson, going to get back to that low line. And as they battle, that allows Kyle Terzak to drive out to a 1.2 second lead. These two are going to have to work together, maybe fall in line if they want any chance at all at catching up. Now, their tires are about a lap or 2 fresher. Not much, but it can make a difference for you.
Lap or 2, never quite know. And some drivers on 2 tires, some drivers on 4. We'll see how that all shakes out here. Again, $270 to the winner here at the All-American 400. I'm trying to find the exact breakdown here, but I can't do it on the fly. But I'll tell you, money is money, and these drivers all want it. There's 16 laps to go. It's been a great showing. We still have 13 drivers on the lead lap, about 20 or so on the raceway. and about 15 have taken it behind the wall here due to issues over the course of 385 laps. And Kyle Tursak has not been one to be immune to those issues. He's been in them. Just the ultimate recovery and just some amazing speed to lead over half of this race.
And if you're Michael Keedeman, who is still on track over 10 laps down, you're looking at the 15 leading the race, knowing that he was involved in the exact same incident that you were, but he was spared by netcode, and you weren't. And that's got to be really, really frustrating. 24 laps down, had the pace to lead the event, maybe even take home a win, but an unfortunate situation just completely rewrote the story of this race. Tale of two races, 15 gets spared, the number 2 did not. 1.2 seconds, and it's looking pretty good, but this is the point where, as a driver, I'm getting really nervous, Corey, because it looks too good. I got a 1.2 second lead. I've only got 11 laps to go. What is going to happen? You know, with the bad luck he's had, people wrecking in front of him, having issues. Could be anything. You got to get to that checkered flag.
Yeah, basically there is a $100 difference between first and second. You go back to a $100 prize for third, so it's basically $270, $166, $300 for third. Fourth and fifth will get $67, and then you get your money back. You get $10 back entry fee, courtesy of Zachary Honecker, who sponsored the back end of the prize pool here. So 6th through 10th will all get their money back, but $100 difference. Chase Pierce sees it, he smells it. Unfortunately, he can't taste it because he is just losing time. And if anybody wants a last-ditch caution, it's going to be him, but I don't even know if he has the speed to challenge for it if it does come out.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. I mean, sometimes it's not about having the speed to challenge for it. Sometimes it's about making the bold move that maybe goes beyond your speed. You'll have to just wait it out. But 1.3 seconds from first to second, and about a second from P2 to P3. Tell you what, Brandon Wilkinson, I mentioned him earlier, he was kind of hanging around the top 5 and then kind of fell a little bit further back through the field, but looking to get a podium finish. It'd be nothing to scoff at. Decent prize pool for that top 3. A little bit further back, Bladen Edwards, Winston Deal, Nathan Coaster. These guys all single file, a little bit more space than they probably were hoping for in order to pick up positions, but I tell you what, it has been a long, eventful night, and it may come down to a longer run with some separation. The one thing we hadn't really seen is a 1.5 second lead, but Turzak's got the pace, he's got the tires, he's looking good.
And I'm very interested why the 22 has fallen off so hard. Maybe it is those 4 tires, but very quickly that point, you talk about 56, probably the quietest in the top 5, I think, of all of the drivers we've seen thus far. Hasn't really been in anything blatant, hasn't been in anything crazy, but has managed to obviously persevere and maintain a top 5 running order. But here we come, 3 laps to go. Only needs about a minute. Remember, Denny Hamlin's season was gone upside down in a 3-lap shootout. Well, let's see Tursak praying to get to the white.
Yeah, that is all he wants to see, is that white flag. Once he gets there, he can be pretty confident. But until then, 2 to go, even 2 to go, isn't going to be a sure thing. Chase Pierce 1.6 seconds back, those slightly fresher tires not able to really help him out here. As Brandon Wilkinson even further back, 2.7 from the leader. And 3, 3, and 4, it's looking like it's going to get to the white flag. There it is. The race is official from here. He's just got to bring it around one more time, Corey.
Kyle Tursak, who has, again, the spin and win, gotten some serious contact off turn number 2, got the damage fixed, drove through the field, led over half of the race. The 28th annual Online All-American 400 goes to the 15th. Kyle Tursak gets the money and the big trophy here tonight.
And it was well earned. He had to, he qualified up front and he led early on, but then he had to race his way back through the field. Had to do it the hard way. He was able to hold on, play the strategy game right, and he is going to get a big payday. That 17-year-old's going to have some spending money. And, going back to your opening monologue, probably not going to be spending it at a shopping mall, but he'll be spending it somewhere.
That 2024 All-American 400 pole sitter, and won in the SARA Weekly Series, and now adds another significant prize and accomplishment to his sim racing resume. Kyle Tursak doing the donuts here on the front stretch. Chase Pierce, Brandon Wilkinson, those will be our podium drivers. So while they celebrate, let's go and round up our evening here today, give you the final rundown of results here from the 28th Annual Online All-American 400. Getting the trophy, the prize, the fame, and all the money. Well, it's not actually a trophy, but just goes with the speak. Kyle Tursak finally got the win with a margin of 1.6 seconds. Chase Pierce second, Brandon Wilkinson in third. Bladen Edwards had the race go very favorably, gets a top 5 out of the deal with Winston Deal. Thought he had the race in hand and a good shot, but just lost it at the end. Nathan Coaster, Travis Wright, John Cannizzaro, Braxton Deweese, and Lane Hostler rounding out the top 10.
Outside of the top 10, Trent Smith in at number 3, going to bring it home P11. Aiden Young going to be 12th. Tyler Muller. Oliver Cordell led 49 laps tonight, but unfortunately got caught out on pit road, never could quite recover. Carson Lucas P15, Joey Burchett 16th. Steele Langford also ran up front for a good amount of time, but unfortunately 2 laps down. P17. 18th goes to Ethan Johnson. Ryan Cole P19, not bad for a car that was on its lid at one point. And Mark Keteman P20.
And of course, Steele Langford getting our Ricky Rudd Award with that great save. Anthony Rosselli 31st, Ryan Strunk 22nd, mind you. Noah Kaufman, Alan Young, Zachary Honecker, he had everything but the lottery, but we got to thank him for his prize contribution to the event. Nick Smith, Brent Butler, Brandon Lucius, Carter Hollingsworth, and James Pileski. And just to round things through, we got Greg Evans, Jordan Cornell, Peyton Howell, Brett McCoy, Matt Vod, Goodbout, Rogers, and... Rogers and Mongold were alternates. They didn't actually take time. Kyle Goodbout, got a feel for him. Didn't even get a lap out of the deal. But let's start our post-race show. We have all of our drivers present. Guess we'll kind of do the backwards grid here today, if you will, Dirt. We'll have you talk to Mr. Brandon Wilkinson, our third place finisher here on the evening.
Mr. Wilkinson, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Brandon, that was one heck of a race. You were in the top 5 for the majority of the night, and it looked like you were going to come home with a comfortable top 10, but then you played the strategy game right. You came down for tires on that yellow at just the right time and muscled your way through the field all the way up to a podium position and a pretty solid payday. Tell me a little bit about this long and eventful night.
Yeah, I kind of screwed up in qualifying and it put us behind the 8 ball, and then... I don't know. There was at one point there when everybody was on 4 tires to start the race. We were the fastest car on the racetrack before that cycle there. We got lucky for that caution to come out, and I shouldn't have taken 4 tires on that first stop, and we kind of got behind on strategy, and then it went long, and then my lefts never really caught up. So. Yeah, I don't know. We went from the fast car on the racetrack on 4 equal tires after Kyle's misfortune to letting Kyle get back in the race and getting his damage fixed, and then we just got behind. So just part of it. Everything's got to go right. A lot of it went right. We just need a little more.
Now, this race historically has quite a few yellows generally, but tonight we had some really long green flag runs. We had green flag stops. Was that in the bingo card for you tonight? Were you expecting a run like that?
Yeah, it's just, it either goes one of 2 ways, right? So you just, you got to leave yourself a little bit of room to be able to work in whatever box you're in. And, like I said, I thought we executed the small things right. And it just, I was happy. Definitely a long run, guy. And, I just really enjoy these long races because I feel like the smarter guys can be there at the end, and obviously you saw what happened tonight.
Fully agree. Well, again, congratulations on your podium. Before we let you go, is there any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, just everybody at the posse. Steele was super fast tonight and had some misfortune. I feel like like I said, we were fast, so we just needed a little bit more. But yeah, everybody's posse, Ty, Stenny, Kraus, Bryant. It's just a really, really, really good group of people to race with. Loco Toco Designs. This was the best looking race car on the racetrack, so that's always good. Epic Media pays for literally everything in sim racing, and now that the real world season's over, we'll get to hitting these big races. We got the Derby coming up, and it'll be a really fun off season from the real life racing. So look forward to it.
Alrighty, well, thank you for your time, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, in second place on the
day. That is going to be third place out of the booth. Go ahead, Corey.
Yep, we got Chase Pierce, second place. Chase the race. You never quite got to the lead here, but you always were right on the door of it. Had some great battles there with WD, and ultimately just kind of the strategy just kind of bit you at the very end. 2 tires versus, when to stay out and whatnot. Just kind of summarize how those last 150 laps went for you with all the pit strategies and caution sequences.
Oh man, sorry, I've kind of lost my voice, but it was crazy there at the end. It was a lot of fun. We got them long runs, and I had found something in one of those long runs during about middle of the race. I mean, I had fallen off. I was running about second or third, then fell off, let the top 2 kind of fade away, and then Wilkinson was about to pass me. And I tried a new line when I got under a lap car and accidentally found something. I was able to get back up to him, and yeah, I mean, Terzak, he was just fast tonight. I mean, there. Even if I would have pitted when he pitted or took 4, I don't know if I'd have had anything for him. I wasn't as good short run as I was long, and he was good short or long. I think he just had us beat tonight. I mean, I hate to say it, but he did. I mean, I'd like to see if I could have done something if I had pitted with him, if I could have roughed him up a little bit or something, but I don't know. But P2 in a big event like this, I'll take it. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job, and so the battle you and Winston had was absolutely classic there. We caught a lot of that, but as Andre kind of told with Brandon, obviously this race had a little bit of everything. We had double-digit cautions. You got to expect that, but 2 sets of green flag stops here. Was that something you expected, planned for with the strategy and getting on pit road under green?
I mean, these short track races, especially with 30 cars, I mean, in iRacing, you don't get those long green flag stops often. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting it. And when we got it, it was, excuse me, it was unexpected. We had to plan that out for sure and make sure we didn't enter too hot, hit the barrels or speed on pit road, because that thing, those things, they can really take you out of contention for a win and a good run like tonight. But we were able to execute there on pit stops and still come home with second.
All right, it's going to be a good payday for you, boss. I know you're not feeling too well, so I won't have you talk too long, but I'll give you the floor for any shout-outs you want to give for your P2 here tonight.
My parents, Top Hat Comics, Stick Shifter Sim Racing, Cottle Chassis, A-Shell Bell Bonds, Todd's Tire Service, Greg's Old Lexington Front End Frame Shop, Velosta, K-Cars Race Cars, Tykes Metal Roofing, everybody who put this whole deal on, Jim Foose, ASR, you guys for the broadcast, everybody who put this whole deal on. It was a great event. I think this was my first time running out. I spotted for Keteman when he won last year, so I was trying to do me a little back-to-back, but didn't work out that way. But big thanks to everybody who put this deal on.
Well, best news of yet. Next year's date's already booked, so get that on your calendar, man. Great job today, and maybe we'll see you next year.
Certainly.
All right, and the money man here on the day, Kyle Tursak, our victor of the 28th Annual All-American 400 with Dirt here in Victory Circle.
It's Tursak. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Kyle, it looked like at the start of this race you were going to be able to do it the easy way. Qualified up front, led some laps, but then chaos. A couple of lap cars turned around the wrong way ahead of you, and you got some damage, had to go back through the running order, and then you had to do it the hard way. Raced your way up through the grid, proved that you earned it, and what a race it was. I mean, you couldn't have done it any better. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I qualified on the pole like I did last year, and the Wi-Fi didn't went out, so that was already better than last year. So I knew that I had to get out front and stay in that clean air. I feel like the clean air with the fixed setups here are very important, and I feel like I did that pretty good. I saw Mark was coming, but I just stayed out in front of him and saved tire where I could, especially that left rear, because we were going to be on it the entire race. And then we had the track blocker, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I was done, because he started backing up, and somehow I didn't get any damage from it, but I got scared and went down pit road and made sure I didn't have any, which I didn't. But then coming back through the field, I knew it was going to be a hard test. Definitely going to be, more tighter being in dirty air and stuff. So I knew that it was going to be hard, and it was. I had to, really drive my guts out. I had really everything I had, and me and Muller made some contact, and that gave me some nose damage. So I knew that was going to affect me, which it did when I got back in clean air because of that caution. Winston and Pierce got back to me, and I knew I was in trouble because that nose damage just made me, get tighter. But while we're in the pit stops, it started slowly getting down when I was, taking the rest of my fuel. So I had about 5 seconds of damage left. So that was, if I had that same damage that I started with when I made contact with Muller, I feel like that I wouldn't be in this position. But yeah, I mean, it feels crazy. $270. It's just surreal, really.
Yeah, that's a huge prize spot for a sim race. It is really impressive. And this track, this car, it clicks with you. Pole sitter last year, then the internet goes out, and then you get the pole again this year. You qualify up front at least this year, and you win the thing. Are you already looking forward to next year? You can come back and try to double down?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've already done 3 of these this year, not as in, 3 different All-Americans. So definitely want to come back next year if, my schedule allows with all these league races going on now. But, this year I came out to prove that I can win, which I did. So, yeah, it's definitely was a huge task doing it, but we got it done.
That you did. Well, again, congratulations on the win. That is a major achievement, and I mean, you did it in dominating fashion. I don't think anybody quite had the pace that black number 15 had out on track. So before we let you go, is there any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, first off, I want to shout out to Jim and you guys for putting this on. I know it was a long race, long 400 laps, but we got through it. Green flag pit stops, that's sick. I mean, that's amazing. So yeah, that was amazing. Arkansas shot for everything to do for me on the open side. 918 custom designs for this matte black 15. Hot shot photography for the best iRacing photos. Everybody's watching back at home. Turtles Racing. Hopefully I can do this in a couple weeks in real life at the Thanksgiving Classic Southern National. That would be sick. Definitely going to use this as some practice and some notes and go on from there.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations. We're going to let you go celebrate, and hopefully we're seeing you next year.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, and before we wrap things up here, just having a brief word here with our ASR Sanction League owner and, of course, the race promoter here with the All-American 400, Mr. Jim Foos. Welcome to the booth. Great race that was put on here today. First time we witnessed green flag stops in one of these that we covered anyways, and a great event. What kind of words do you want to offer here to close things out tonight?
I'm just amazed at how great of a race we had, how great of a broadcast. I watched and listened while I was up on race control on the little screen, but got to watch that, and you guys did a great job. Great to have Primetime Racing TV with us, and man, I'm just so thankful for everybody that's a part of this, all the support that we get, and 28 years, and we're going on to a 29th next year.
Yeah, there's no way you could stop before 30 at this point. And of course, one of the best things of this is, looking at this, obviously Dirk covered this with me 2 years ago. I was here last year as well with Bradley, but to have these guys coming back year after year with the prize prestige that comes with this, that just has to feel good knowing that you've created something, not just over the course of the iRacing, but guys are already talking about, already looking forward to next year's event. That has to feel good.
Well, Corey, this race, and you raced in it a couple times back when it wasn't at Nashville. It lost a lot of prestige not being here. And when we got back here in 2020, there was a buzz about it, a lot of excitement about it. But I wasn't. My hands were tied on promoting it. We had a Big Money Cup series. We had a development series alongside, and then a third series that was running basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So all these days were full, and we weren't able to give this 100%. So we ran, the super late models here on Saturday night, or I think it was Saturday night that year, and a couple other races leading up to it, including some older Cup cars and things like that. But we weren't able to give it what it needed. And now, with NASCAR shortening the season back into the end of October, first week of November, that gives us more time to kind of have a little bit of flexibility here. We're not up against a Xfinity race tonight. I'm sorry, an O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. And just a newfound excitement for it. Plus, this is my kind of race. Like, this is what I do on a weekly basis from April till October. I'm at short tracks like this. I'm covering races like this. Maybe not with the prestige of what the real All-American 400 has. But I'm at short tracks every week. So this is my kind of race, and it feels like home, and it feels like it's back on top where it should be.
Absolutely. Of course, the sponsors on the top of the screen that Jim is affiliated with, the NOSRA sanction, the new league coming about. Of course, Speedway Action Images for his photography, and of course, Speedway Action Magazine. Check it out for all your Ohio short track action. We'll let you stay in the booth here as we wrap things up, Jim. But again, if you're on PTR TV, like, share, comment, subscribe. Looking for 1,900 subscribers. Hopefully we could have got there by the end of the stream, if not a lot closer. Stay tuned for our next broadcast. We have some cup racing with the Triple Bypass League. We got some elbows out racing. 2 weeks time we'll have some more short track racing with the late models there in E-Car. Don't miss any of the action. But that's going to be Corey and Dirt signing out of the booth. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. The following is a presentation of